You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
It's good to be back.
(105-103). Raptors with a 2-point lead, looking for their 5th win. Embiid loses it. Joel Embiid loses it. Grady, the death jack, and he just loses the basketball. Goes between the legs.
The anti-Philadelphia Eagles, I give you the Philadelphia 76ers. Sorry, I can only praise Philadelphia teams so much. But that was a major blunder last night, despite him having 27, 12, and 4. Ball goes through his legs like Bill Buckner. Oh, the late, great Bill Buckner. How's everybody doing? Good morning on this Hump Day Wednesday. This is the Pete Sheppard Show. Let's get it going. Thanks for checking us out on a beautiful Wednesday morning here in Southwest Florida. Wow, what incredible weather that we are having, about 8 to 10 degrees above normal, which is in the 70s, which is getting back to that on Monday as all you people have your blizzards and ice storms and all that stuff. And, you know, we live a more civilized life down here a little bit, even though there are those out there. And I agree that say the cold and the snow and the wind and digging out and everything makes you stronger. It does, but only to a certain point. And I've been through that character-wise, so has Angel before. So I feel like I've earned it, where I don't have to do it or feel badly anymore because I'm not getting bigger, stronger, and faster. Just the opposite. I'm getting dumber, slower, and less mobile. Anyway, welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show. Twitter. Sorry about the 76ers last night, Angel Martinez. Thank you for joining us here on Twitter X this morning at PShep326. Follow me across all the Facebook pages, across the dial, on Tampa Joe's, on the Coastal Sports Network Facebook page. Freaking hair. It's time. I got to do the bi-monthly, every couple of months, you know, I turn into Gorilla Boy. It's just awful. It's just awful, you know. But anyway, that's gross. SR1029thegame.com. Thanks for checking us out there. CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, Spotify, YouTube, of course, and call or text 727-858-6650. Welcome, Angel Martinez. Huge show lined up for you today. Full show. 4 guests. Corey Schaub, going to talk about the Chubb Classic in Southwest Florida, Naples. It is an absolute gigantic event down here. I've broadcast at it before. At other places, it's great at Tiburon Golf Club, and Corey used to be one of the head pros there. He still works there. He gives lessons and everything else. He's very tied in to this tournament. It's going to feature Tom Lehman, Steve Stricker, Ernie Els, Bernard Longer, Stephen Ames. It's 78-player field consisting of major champs, Hall of Famers, past champions, and legends of the game competing. It's a 54-hole championship, officially Friday through Sunday, 14th through the 16th, and a share of a $1.8 million purse. It's a huge purse. But they have all sorts of events going on, Pro-Am stuff going on there all this week. Started on Monday. So we'll get Corey's take on all of that. Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and Bookies.com going to join me at 8:30 for his weekly visit. At 9:05, Mick Colaggio, as we get ready for, or some of us get ready for the Four Nation tournament. I'm not sure how many people are going to be watching or what these arenas are going to be like with all these huge ticket costs. But tonight it's Canada and Sweden, and then USA and Finland tomorrow. Have a couple of cuts from head coach Mike Sullivan. Talking about Charlie McAvoy, which is good. Mike's a Boston guy, a BU guy, and is a great coach as well in the NHL. So we'll get some video and stuff from him. John Meter-Perrell at 9:30. We'll be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of college basketball with John Meter-Perrell. How about UConn last night? Goes into Omaha and beats Creighton. First time they've ever beaten Creighton on the road. And we'll get the reaction from Dan Hurley after the game. Leaving and being heckled and booed and all that stuff, and just said, went out with the old back to back when you get there. But Creighton's a very, very good basketball team. and both of them will be in the NCAA tournament. No doubt about that. The official names for this year's All-Star squads were announced. Shaq had to eat last night on TNT, although he cheated. A big bowl of food. Where do you see what he put in? Where do you see the video of what he put in this thing? Because he was surpassed by KD last night, points-wise, for centers or something like that. I'll give you the whole stat. Gas Pump Guy says, morning, fellas. Hope you have a great day. You too, Gas Pump Guy, or as the Angels calls him, GPG. And then we have, see, when you play for the Dallas Cowboys, it's only a matter of time under Jerry Jones. We heard it from Micah Parsons earlier, right after the season over. They've already won the Super Bowl, according to Micah Parsons. And when osmosis, it's something like it's a reverse Jedi mind trick. When Jerry Jones speaks, you ought to, and somehow it's a reverse Jedi mind trick because some of these guys start believing it. They actually, you just get dumber by listening to Jerry Jones when it comes to the delusional factor that is the Dallas Cowboys. It is absolutely unbelievable. Wait till you hear what Dak Prescott has to say. In fact, I'm going to play it right now. Listen to what now. He's had a nice charity event. He said this yesterday. He was announcing the models for this year's Children's Cancer Fund Gala that will be held April 11th. And great cause. This has nothing to do with him off the field. Great guy and all that stuff. But listen to this delusional take on the Dallas Cowboys. This is ridiculous.
I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when the other guy's holding a trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially when you even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us. All right. Okay. How's your health? It's good. Yeah, my health is for sure. My health is good. Doing a lot more. Getting there. I think I'm 12 weeks or so out of surgery now. So I'm really looking to amp it up here recently. Got all my confidence.
I don't know if you got early stages of something, mad cow, whatever you want to call it, but Dak Prescott needs to go and see a brain specialist because maybe it's me, maybe it's Angel, maybe it's hysterical amnesia. But the last time I checked, at least this past year, I believe Philadelphia outscored Dallas, I think 75-13. I think combined both games. What in the wide world of sports are you talking about, Dak Prescott? What planet have you been on? What is that? I'd have to go look, Angel, to see how they did against Washington last year. I mean, the Cowboys ended up 7-10. It was like garbage stuff at the end. You got outscored 75-13. I don't care if you beat them 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It doesn't matter that you split or something, whatever. You make it sound like they've won like 9 out of 10 times against, which is bullshit. You got outscored last year, son, 75-13. What are you talking? What happens to? What is going on with you people?
Well, the funny part is that he also mentioned the same exact thing too when he got that contract extension. It's like, oh, now it's time to win the Super Bowl. And how did that work out for you?
Super Bowl? How about just getting back into? How about winning a playoff game? They're the only team since 1996 that has not gotten to a conference championship game in the NFC. How many times you're going to hear that stat all year? You're third right now in the NFC East. You are behind the Eagles, obviously, and you're behind Washington. And I don't know what the Giants are going to be next year, but you'll be fighting out for them for third place. And I'm telling you, you people you're delusional. You're delusional. Talking like that, and you don't. I guess I know you were hurt. I guess you don't remember being outscored 75-13 by the Eagles. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anywho, so how was your night, Angel? How are you doing?
Good. I had something I have to bring up later. Matter of fact, let me see if I can. Listen, there's things that obviously are not. I don't know if you've gotten the opportunity of seeing some of the stuff that goes on with AI, although it can be funny, and some of it is just something else.
Here's the thing I have with AI right now on Facebook on the Reels section.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, they were showing this guy who would, and I think he's from New England, a Maine fisherman, and he would clean lobsters and crabs and everything from the barnacles, and basically barnacles, when they attach themselves to any type of crustacean or fish. I mean, and they have that little, they look gross when they have that little tail thing that comes out, which is actually a penis. That's how they mate. But so you see these guys, and it's pretty cool how they clean them off with the looks like hedge clippers, but it's not. It's
Right.
And it's pretty cool. Now AI across all the real sections now have all these fake videos of people like cleaning off dolphins and whales, and it is so over the top fake. And people keep following. I mean, like tons. I mean, like no fish or mammal, I should say, could survive it. It's impossible, and they just keep throwing it out there and throwing it out there. That's just a few things that absolutely bug the shit out of me. And people fall for, oh, isn't that so cool? Fake. Everything's fake. AI, you got to be really careful about what you're watching. I'm still pissed that they have the potential to steal my voice. Sheila Book and I were talking about this last week about AI and the crafty little suckers that they are over there. There's some benefits to AI. There's no question about it for this business, but you got to be really careful and not be duped by some of these videos, and be careful about what you're hearing, because a lot of it is not true. I have AI. I've gone, if you say such and such, give me an update on this widget, pick a topic. A lot of times it's not dated. It's like from 2005 or 2007. Here we are in 2025. So be very careful when we're talking about AI. But go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, it was. No, you're right, because there's good points that you made there. This one group that they have been better. What they do is they put down, like, if it's, let's say if it's Patrick Mahomes, across his shirt, you'll see it like in small letters. It'll be like, AI Studios or whatever they call themselves. I think Dynamic AI. It's funny with some of the stuff they put in there, and obviously, yeah, it is dangerous, because you have to, they take voices, which is the natural voice from the person, and put it all together. Yeah. But some of the stuff it's pretty funny that they put. I mean, hopefully nobody's falling for it. Like Patrick Mahomes is not going to curse out Andy Reid, for example, and especially not put it out there. But there's some stuff that it just makes you laugh, but at the same time too, you can't
retweet. I mean, I catch it all the time, and there was I actually got caught by doing it once myself by accident, and it's tough to delete stuff, but you can't. In fact, we went to play something a few weeks ago, remember? And I said, because I hadn't listened to it, but it came from a credible source, and we started playing. I'm like, oh no, this is stupid. This is like, yeah. So you just got to be. And David, good morning, David. How are you? Welcome to the show. You just got to be careful with a lot of this AI stuff. A lot of it is funny, and it's all edited. I mean, we don't like to play edited stuff on the show. We like to play what is real. But I'm not gonna play an AI video of any athlete or entertainer ripping somebody else because they put it together. If it's genuine, it's genuine. That's a different story. But how about John Rocker and Patrick Mahomes Sr. getting in a? Did you see this? I got the video, Angel.
Yep. Well, that's
I haven't mentioned John Rocker in years, and he one time was a pretty good pitcher for the Braves. Racist that he was, and the Yankee, whatever. I mean, he's just a bad dude. Guy's a fucking bad dude. But I mean, you talk about. I mean, you got to scroll down a little bit, Angel. I thought I retweeted it. Did I not retweet it?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. What's this? This is on Bourbon Street after the game. I guess Sunday night late / Monday morning early. Of all people, how about this? Patrick Mahomes Sr., who's also got his own ridiculous issues, and John Rocker. Watch this.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I would like to know when the world was exchanged, because that's the reason why I was going with the AI thing. Because someone that was the reason why, because you had retweeted it. But it was funny because someone had put, and wasn't even their original voices. Someone had put like their own funny captions on there. But I'm just wondering, like, what was it? Because at first they even had to change. They had originally up there Pat Mahomes, and then finally someone went back and corrected, said it was Pat Mahomes' dad.
Yeah. Here's what happened.
What are you guys doing? This is supposed to be an exhibition. You understand?
Patrick Mahomes Sr. Tweeted. He tweeted out. I gotta find it. Well, he tweeted out a little blurb, and I only follow these people because here it is, right here. He's got a blue check mark too. Love this. Former MLB pitcher, proud father of 6, Texas living, but doesn't have his jail sentences. He tweets out 11 hours ago. I guess it must have been last night then. John Rocker is a menace to society.
Jesus.
Oh, God. Good morning from NOLA. That was on February 8th. That was 4 days ago. Then on January 27th, he said, today is a great day to not be from Buffalo. That was after the Chiefs obviously won. Big part of it, thanks to the officials in that game. But, these nut jobs are crazy. But of all things, what have I told you? If I told you that Patrick Mahomes Sr. and John Rocker almost come to blows, after the game.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what the heck was it, though? What was he exchanging? Because it looked like John Rocker just came outside and all of a sudden it was, the finger pointing.
What are you guys doing? This is supposed to be an exhibition. You understand? An exhibition.
Apparently, John Rocker came out and made some sort of joke, which you can't hear. It's the audio, you can't hear him. And apparently, Patrick Mahomes, he was too shit-faced or whatever to take it as a joke. Now, with John Rocker, who the hell knows? Everything that comes out of his mouth seems to be. I mean, who has mentioned John? We've talked about John Rocker more in the last 2 minutes, in the last 15 years. It's just absolutely amazing, just unbelievable. John Rocker has tweeted out. I didn't see this. I got to follow it. John Rocker, in another mature tweet.
Oh, boy.
Fuck Patrick Mahomes. That is 11 hours ago. Mahomes, lucky he got away. I would have rocked him. Get it? The pun, rocked him, because he's John Rocker. He wouldn't have had the balls to say that to my face the other night. Patrick Mahomes Sr. responds, you really haven't changed one bit in the last 25 years. Keep my name out your loud mouth.
Oh, so we're doing a Will
This
Smith
fucking
reference.
loser, John Rocker says, can't take a damn joke. Wish I'd laid him out right there and ruined his bullshit weekend even more. He's a grown man. Very, very mature. Let me see what the response is to him after the Mahomes' lucky got away. I would have rocked him.
Is there a future WWE match
Somebody
coming?
says, you both had the chance to settle Dave face-to-face. Going to say the same I did to his post. Don't do that keyboard warrior kind of crap. You both look like kiddos here. The New York Post is insinuating that this was set up in order to hype up a celeb boxing fight. Any truth to maybe this? I didn't see the Post article. Maybe that's it.
That's what. See, and I just mentioned as you were talking about it, I wonder if it's like some sort of WWE, future match. But
Somebody says, Texas Citizen on Twitter says, I see a Jake Paul live X event here, Rocker versus Mahomes. Somebody says, shouldn't Patrick Mahomes Sr. be on house arrest or something? He got his 3rd or 4th DWI. He's out drinking. Got to be a violation of probation or something. Rules. Yeah, I know. I agree. Let me see what else. Bill says, one of my boys' best boys used to call his overhand right the Johnny Rocker. Circa 2002, we were up on beautiful Lake George, New York. Things got a little hot on Canada Street. Afterwards, he told me, you see me give that fella the Johnny Rocker? And we laughed our balls off for hours. Okay, it must be some kind of a super punch. One guy says, I have zero idea what the feud is about, but John, you're most definitely a beast, always were. Yeah, he's a freaking moron. Let me see what else.
Gaspo guy says next Netflix premiere: Rocker versus Mahomes.
And there'll be idiots that pay for it.
There will be.
My God. It's just unbelievable. We got a lot going on today. Obviously, I'm going to play some more NFL sound from around, reaction from the Eagles still winning. Bill Belichick breaks down what happened to Kansas City's offensive line and that kind of stuff as well. This Luka Doncic stuff and what's going on. So yesterday, I don't listen to national radio shows. Look, when I worked at ESPN Southwest Florida, we were the only local show on. The morning show there now, and the afternoon show is still on for now anyway. But you know, when I used to drive in, I would listen to the national radio, and it was so bad. The lead-in for us for a couple of years was Bart Scott and Alan Hahn, and I like Alan. He's written books. He's an established broadcaster, radio and TV guy. But they would sit there and talk about Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets for 4 hours, like that was moving the needle. Instead of talking about the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics at the time, who were clearly the better teams in the East. And they would always bring up the late. It was just like meat. It was horrible. It was a horrible lead-in to our show back then. Yesterday, Greeny, this week, ESPN revamped some of their national radio stuff again. Now, the morning show they have now is pretty good, I must say. It's probably the best morning show they've had since Mike and Mike in the morning. And, you know, I have it on for like 5 minutes in the morning, but not a lot. But Clay Travis took over for Mike Greenberg's show because Greeny's doing so much over there. Clay Travis took over. So I had to leave. Right after the show yesterday, I went out and had a couple errands I had to do. So I had that on for half an hour because I'm still a radio geek and I still like to hear. Clay Travis took over and unfortunately is based out of 710 ESPN Los Angeles. This is the same network, by the way, at ESPN that broke in from the Baylor-Houston game the other night. By the way, Angel, I guess you know that. If you look under, I had it. They broke in to show LA traffic because Doncic was making his debut. Like, there wouldn't be the same kind of traffic whether they were playing or not. It's always traffic. This guy, for 45 minutes, talked about the Lakers, how great they are, how they do better than anybody else, making you feel welcome to the organization. It was such a freaking butt smooch for the Lakers. And I'm like, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. That trade, you didn't get Williams. They went outside some other stiff. Wait till you hear who Stephen A. when they play that video, who suggested to Brian Windhorst who the Lakers should go and try and sign. And Windhorst just like almost fell over in his chair when it happened. You got the governor of was the governor of Texas who was lashing out or praising the Mavericks for making the deal. Luka Doncic was just not well liked by a lot of higher ups in Dallas, but Clay Travis coming on 45 minutes, way to alienate your audience. See, that's the problem. All these guys that get stuck, like it was like same thing with Scott and Hahn back in the day. They're in New York and they think they're doing New York radio. You're not doing New York radio. People around the country don't care about the Nets at the time, who were not good. They had some name power, but they weren't that good. The Celtics and Miami Heat were clearly better, and they never really wanted to talk about it. Of course, it wasn't that. It was the Knicks. The Knicks. And they don't do shit either, and they're never going to do shit. You saw the Celtics destroy them at MSG a week ago. Destroyed them. They're not even close on the same level as the Celtics. They're not even close, or Cleveland for that matter. They could win a game in a series, but they're not there yet. And the Lakers sure as hell are not. And these people in the national radio, they still think talking about the Lakers are going to move. They are better off talking about NFL highlights and stuff I'm going to get to today. You're better off. NFL and college football is still 1 and 1A. That should be your focus. Luka Doncic going 1 for 7 and getting 14 points. Okay, it's fine. Okay, you talk about it for a few minutes, not 45 minutes. You should have heard. And here's Clay Travis, like he's getting emotional, right? He's like, you should have heard my show afterwards, my post-game show after the. He goes, I'm listening, or it wasn't his show. He goes, I'm listening after the game 2 nights ago when Dallas beat up on when the Lakers beat up on that pathetic Utah team. Remember a couple of nights ago? Utah's one of the worst teams, second worst team in the league. He's like, people were calling up in tears. They were getting emotional. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Who? Then your Laker fans are really stupid. Calling up in tears. He's like, this has to work. If this does, oh my God. Just forget about him being out of shape and all that stuff. And yes, he's one of the best players in the NBA. Just, how about having him stay healthy? Let's start with that. Look at Anthony Davis. Now, Joel Embiid played last night. He blew the game. He had a good game, but I didn't expect him to play last night. I didn't expect him to play for quite some time. So obviously those reports were sort of false about him not playing. But nevertheless, here's Clay Travis, national radio. Oh, they're calling after the postgame show. Seriously? Are you kidding me? I remember when the Celtics in '86 got Scott Webden from Cleveland, a guy, a Peyton Pritchard type of a guy back then. That, put them not over the top because they was already one of the best teams in the NBA, and in my opinion, still the greatest team of all time, the '86 Celtics. But I didn't cry. I was like, yeah, awesome. We got, we got him. We got Scott Webben, great. We got one of the best shooters in the league from Cleveland, one of the worst teams in the league. Great to have. I didn't cry. I've never cried on a trade. Never. I cried when we lost people, But for this guy at the national radio, you made a jackass out of you. The Lakers. You should have heard the show on 710 ESPN Los Angeles last night, and people were calling in crying. Oh my God! If people were calling in crying because Luka Doncic, get out of here with that stuff. It is so ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Angel, if we could, before we go to break, I have a lot to get to. Just scroll down the first one. You might have to refresh. Tim McMahon sending shots at Dallas. Here is this is one with Wendy, ESPN.
I thought
NBA reporter Tim McMahon. Go ahead. What?
I thought Windhorse was like not going to do as much with ESPN. Now it seems like he's back doing more on ESPN.
Oh, he has to because LeBron's there. They're making him do all this stuff. No, I mean I didn't hear that. He's not going anywhere. It's still be at the All-Star break and all. As long as the Lakers are somewhat in the hunt, they got to keep him around. All right, so here's Tim McMahon sending shots at Dallas's way.
Yeah, I think you've got to look at this as a preseason game with all kinds of pomp and circumstance. Obviously, all the excitement, Luka Doncic in a Lakers uniform. But as Winnie said, he hasn't played since Christmas. He's only practiced just a couple of times. Clearly chipping off rust, trying to get his win, his rhythm, new team, new surroundings, all those kind of things. He's in a minutes restriction, 23 minutes. He's going to be ramping up. It's going to be a little bit before he is full blast Luka Doncic, but I bet you we'll see that by, about February 25th when the Mavericks come to L.A.
Good point. Yeah, he's going to look good then.
How do you know he's going to look good? I think it's 13 days from now, and I don't even know if he's going to play. It's just so ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Anthony says, I met JetBlue now, meet. Okay.
Was he throwing a meter for later on?
What is Does that mean you're coming in or you're leaving? And can I ask why I should care that you're at JetBlue? Safe travels, by the way, Anthony.
I'm wondering if he's talking about, is he mentioning meter for later?
No, I don't think so. No, because my nickname in Boston, a lot of it was Pete the Meat Sheppard. So, no, but meter will be on this morning at 9:30. Yeah, I think he's calling. I want to say he's calling the Boston College game tonight. Let me see. Yeah, they're playing Notre Dame's at BC tonight on ESPNU. I think he's calling that game. I think. Could be mistaken. Anywho. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, some more NFL sound, some funny videos from TNT last night. Shaq having to eat a bowl of, I don't know what. Wait till you see what he puts in this thing. Then he sort of cheated because he lost a bet, but we'll get to that. As I said, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, Corey Schaub, who is used to be a former one of the head pros over there at Tiburon, but now he still works there and gives lessons. And he is well connected with the Chubb Classic going on in Naples this week. Big, huge tournament down here in this area, and you could see it nationally. Obviously, it's a huge purse, $1.8 million at Tiburon Golf Club. Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and Bookies.com will join me at 8:30. Mick Colagio will get into the NHL and get his thoughts on Mike Sullivan and Team USA, head coach in this four-nation tournament that has been promoted so poorly. Most people don't even know what's going on. Canada at Sweden begins today. USA at Finland tomorrow, and a lot more with that. And then Meter will talk about college hoops and other stuff of entertainment proportions. No question about it. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Hump Day Wednesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him in the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
And Durant can join the group in the 30,000 club here. Sitting on 25 tonight. Through the first three quarters, giving 26 and 30K for Durant. We're going to have a moment between the quarters. Special moment indeed. That is such a huge number. But between the quarters, and Durant giving the love right back.
All right, thanks to TNT last night. Kevin Durant became the 8th player in NBA history to score 30,000 points, hitting the mark with a free throw late in the third, and then 119-112 loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. You're supposed to win those games when you hit those milestones, but the Ramona Shelburne toxic Phoenix Suns, even though he reputed that yesterday. The Phoenix Suns will lose. So, but the 36-year-old who recently was voted to his 15th All-Star team joins LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, and Wilt Chamberlain in the 30,000-point club. Julius Erving also hit the mark when combining his points in the NBA and the ABA. But they lose. My apologies to Anthony. I'm sorry, Anthony. I don't know why when you said JetBlue, I'm thinking RSW, the airport over here, when it said safe travel. No, that's awesome that you're at JetBlue. I think that's great. The pitchers and catchers, I believe, reported today. So we're going to have some baseball talk tomorrow. I'm going to get somebody on locally, either Sean McAdams, Steve Buckley, one of those guys that's going to be down here as well in Fort Myers for spring training for the Red Sox, and I'll get somebody for the Twins. Also, I'm going to really do my best to get Rocco Baldelli on, who's the manager of the Twins, who went to my high school. And I have his number, and we've communicated. He's been on other shows I've been on before. But that's great, Anthony. Enjoy. It's beautiful down here. It's 65. It's going up to about 84 degrees today. It has been drop-dead gorgeous weather here in Southwest Florida. You just can't really go in the water. That's the only bad thing down here because of the red tide, like I brought up yesterday. But other than that, it's been great. So, yeah, pitchers and catchers around, I don't know if the Phillies did in Clearwater up there, but it's either today, tomorrow, Friday. They're all coming in to start the early workouts, which is, baseball season is almost here. For me, I have a hard time. It's hard for me to get excited about my Red Sox right now because I just don't. They still haven't signed Bregman, and I don't know what's going on. If they ever lose him to Detroit or somebody else, I'm going to be livid. So I don't know. But anyway, it's baseball season. A lot of people coming down here for it. It stimulates the economy down here. It's huge. So despite the bad traffic on Daniels down here in Fort Myers. But other than that, it's great. So we have to enjoy. If you see anything, hey, if you see John Henry, go up to him, will you? If you see John Henry, Anthony, because nobody seems to get a hold of it, I don't know if he's going to be incognito, in disguise coming into the ballpark or whatever, if he's even there right now. My guess he probably isn't. But it'd be nice to see him because he is like quadruple Groundhog Day. He comes out once every, 5 years. And basically the only time we saw him last year, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit less, we saw him last year, he came out for like 5 minutes in front of batting practice at JetBlue last year. That was it. So if you see him, Anthony, tell him, I'd like to talk to him. I have a few questions. I'd like. Rick says, any speculation as to who the Eagles would go after at OC? I have no idea. They might. There's been some talk about. I think they're going to promote from within.
Yeah, I believe that's exactly what they're planning on doing because it was Kevin Patullo is very much in running to replace Moore, and so they're going to go from within. The Eagles passing game coordinator and assistant head coach is who they're planning on going with.
All right, sounds good. Let me get back to the NFL, and then we'll get some more in some NBA and what's going on a little bit. The Lakers, that whole Mike Williams thing got frightfully botched. Yesterday on Sirius XM NFL Radio, here's Bill Belichick on what went wrong for the Chiefs.
For Kansas City this year, a good place to look is the left tackle situation. Clearly, Andy and Brett, the general manager, identified that as a problem. And, they took Kingsley in the first or second round, whatever it was. They took him high as second pick after Worthy. That didn't work out. And then they played 4 offensive tackles with their last offensive tackle at the end of the season in the playoffs, being Joe Tooney, who's really a guard who's never played tackle since he played it at NC State in college. So they knew what the problem was. They tried to address it. It didn't work out with Kingsley. It didn't work out with Morris. Then they made a trade that didn't work out. And now, they end up playing a guard at tackle. And, you get up against some teams and that you can get by with that. But until you get up against the best teams or the best team, that was a problem for him. It was a problem for him last night.
Yep, no question about it. Sticking with this, Angel, if we could scroll down a little bit, it's under Savage. Julian Edelman left A.J. Brown a note, and we got the video of after the Super Bowl, A.J. with his beautiful children on set and on Fox. And there's a nice exchange here between Julian Edelman, A.J. Brown, and the gang on Fox afterwards.
AJ, you get my note?
Yeah, I got your note.
Man, I'm so proud of you, man. I remember talking to you your rookie year. Now you're a Super Bowl champion. Now, when you scored, you guys were up 24. How important was it to build that lead?
It was very important. We know who we were going against. Everybody was just trying to tell everybody to just stay calm and stay locked in because of Pat Mahomes. He's a great quarterback, and we know what he's capable of. And we were just trying to just keep going, keep our foot on their neck.
I will fill in the blanks for those of you that don't know. Julian, when we were the Eagles were kind enough to let us go take a locker room tour in our pregame coverage, and Julian wrote you a note and left it in your locker. Do you care to share what might be on that note?
No, I'm not going to share. I'm
Okay,
not going to
fair
share.
enough.
It meant the world to me.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Julian for a long time. I grew up a Patriots fan. So this guy is very special to me.
Yeah.
I watched him year after year, him and Tom. Those guys are very special to me.
You watch some knucklehead in Philadelphia, or not necessarily in Philadelphia, will say, you grew up a Patriot fan? I mean, I think he's from Mississippi originally. And, that's where he grew up. So, he grew up where he grew up. But that's great stuff there with A.J. Brown, who I'm hoping is a Patriot next year. No offense. I want to poach your team a little bit. He could be. I would love to see him come over to New England. That would be fantastic. Kellen Moore, as expected, is going to take over and going to be named officially the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints yesterday. Dallas Goedert said would have liked Kellen Moore to stay in Philadelphia, but he is happy for him.
You lost your OC. Kellen Moore's gone, and I'm sure he's excited to be a head coach. I'd like your thoughts on what he contributed to your football team, for you personally and for the offense in general.
Yeah, ever since Kellen got here, he was awesome.
He did a great job leading the room when he was in there. I expect him to be a great head coach in this league. I talked to him after the Super Bowl and gave him my spiel on why he should come back and run it back with us one more year, but incredibly happy for him and awesome opportunity for him. But he did a great job ever since he got in the building. You know, he went and watched the tape of the last 3 years, and, you know, he really tried to make sure he didn't change anything that we did well, tried to eliminate the things that we struggled with, and then brought his own twist to everything. So he was an important part of this run, and, you know, I'm happy for him that he got the coaching job and wish him all the success anytime he's not playing the Eagles. But, you know, I wish he would have stayed one more year with us.
All right. There's more going on, stuff going on in the NFL as well. Rich Eisen on the 49ers being one of the landing spots for Aaron Rodgers.
The San Francisco stuff is nuts. I don't understand the Purdy slander and the Purdy hate. And everybody assumes Purdy is going to hold out for every penny. Everybody assumes that Purdy's going to get that $60 million. I don't know if that's what Purdy and the 49ers are going to work out. If I'm Purdy, I'll take the generationally brilliant price tag of Goff. I'll take the generationally brilliant price tag of what Mahomes is playing for right now.
And Kyler Murray.
You know, I would do that and just know that I need to make sure I'm protected up front and I've got the weaponry that's required of me to show that I'm the guy. And in terms of the Purdy hate, I mean, who can be trusted more about knowing quarterbacks and quarterbacking and worthiness of being a quarterback than Joe Montana?
All right. Interesting stuff. Angel, I want to get a couple of these videos in. Back to the NBA. I know we're bouncing around here, but I want to get this stuff in. You got to scroll down. Right under the Julian Edelman thing that we just played, right under that. Brian, this is the exchange that happened yesterday on First Take between, listen to this outrageousness by Stephen A. Smith, and Brian Windhorst just almost fell out of his chair. Wait till you see this and this discussion.
Pissed me off. But anyway, here's the deal, Wendy, Shannon. I will say this, though, and I haven't seen him in a couple of years. I don't know how he's looking, Wendy, but I'm finding it hard to believe, like, you know, all you need is somebody to defend and rebound. Why not look at a Dwight Howard? Sure. Why not look at somebody off the scrap heap? He's always in shape. He never looks out of shape at all. Don't get me wrong. I understand, Wendy. I know we ain't seen him in a while. But Shannon brought up names like JaVale McGee. Other. Just look around. I would say this to you, Wendy. Look around the league. Who's available? I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here, Wendy? Why are you shaking your head like that?
When he's playing in Mongolia, why don't you call him?
Who?
I mean, DeMarcus Cousins is playing in Mongolia. Why don't you call him?
I'll tell you why.
He's literally playing in Mongolia. Dwight Howard's going into the Hall of Fame because he's retired for so long. His last time he played was in Taiwan. Are you being serious?
I'm being serious only from this standpoint. You don't need anything from him. You just need a big body who can rebound, okay? And kind of do something to play defense. You don't need. I'm not telling you that the man is going to be what he once was, okay? I'm saying to you, I mean, damn, look around the league. What is there?
What is there? Is just killing up my mood. Oh, geez.
I'm just saying, Wendy, what
I
what
heard
is
Kareem
there?
Abdul-Jabbar is a free agent. I mean, he can
Really, that's what we're doing? That's what we're doing? That's what we're doing?
Get him. Shots fired.
I wish I had a webcam on Chet Holmgren's face right now when you're talking about Dwight Howard. I wish I had Al Parent.
The league has 30 teams. The league has 30 teams. The league has.
Shut up, Stephen A. Shut up, Dwight Howard. And note, go back. Let's play the first part of that. You don't have to. What is he? The first thing out of his mouth is, well, I haven't seen a guy in a couple of years. Then what the hell are you talking about? You don't know what kind of shape he's in. You haven't seen him. I'm sure he's in somewhat decent shape. He's right. He always was. Who's seen Dwight Howard? lately. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. Maybe he's got, Luka Doncic, muffin top. Who the hell knows?
He was
actually an idiotic thing to say. And the Lakers signed Alex Len yesterday. He's exactly the guy, Stephen A. you're talking about. Not Dwight Howard, the Hall of Fame. Alex Len, he's 7 feet. You said you cared. You wanted a few rebounds? Okay, there's a 7-footer they signed yesterday, Alex Len, signing with the Lakers. We were supposed to go to the Indiana Pacers, but the Lakers somehow interfered. And after the trade with Mark Williams got rescinded. And that's a whole other story, which we'll get to. But go ahead, Angel.
He was, Dwight Howard was on, what's that show on Fox, the Special Ops? He was on it last season, and I mean, he still looked friggin' physically fit. Now, again, I don't know if they taped that like over 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong, but they aired it last season. But I mean, he looked fit. But even he said it when he was on it. It's like, man, this is more demanding to me being on the NBA court. But
that's a show where they like jump off bridges and stuff. It's all the celebrities and it's like crazy. But it's like crazy money if you win, right? It's like a couple $1 million. But they got to like go through waterfalls and isn't all that crazy shit that they do on that show?
Yeah, so what they do is they give them kind of a taste of what the Special Forces unit would end up doing in Navy SEALs, if that's the case, without giving away a whole bunch away. But they do a pretty good job. Denise Richards, believe it or not, was on it this season. Oh, dear Lord, didn't take too kind of all the plastic stuff that she got done. So she looks like a wreck. But other than that,
what was that? What was the movie she was in with Kevin Bacon? The thriller. Oh, what the hell was it? They made a couple of them, but her and what's her name make it out in the pool. Remember, Denise Richards and what the hell was the name of that movie?
Perhaps
it was like this boyfriend. There was always a subplot. This boyfriend killed that boyfriend. This girl, that kind of. Anyway, anywho. All right, let's scroll down a couple, Angel. It'll come to me. Somebody will think of it. The movie with Denise Richards and Kevin Bacon and Matt, what's his name? Oh, Christ.
Matt Damon.
No, not Matt Damon. Dark hair guy. It'll come to me. All right, if we could scroll down, Angel, it's 2 down. And speaking of this Laker stuff and Mark Williams, here's Sam Charnier of ESPN yesterday on NBA Live talking about the situation. It's the second one down underneath the drum.
All right, so the reason why I brought up the Windhorst, because I thought Sam here was supposed to be the one taking over for him, and then it seems like Windhorst is just still hanging around a whole bunch.
Well, he's a contributor. I mean, she's still hosting the show. Or who'd you say? Who'd you think was going to take over?
So Sam, the guy that's next to her, he's now the new NBA analyst for ESPN because Windhorst.
Sham is their inside. He's their Woj, but they're not going anywhere away from Brian Windhorst because he's got the connections to the Lakers and LeBron James. So he's always going to be around as a contributor. He's not going anywhere.
All right,
absolutely not. All right, so here's the latest with the situation with the Lakers.
That trade, it fizzled out a little bit. There's been new developments in the Williams trade that was rescinded. Shams, what more can you tell us about what's going on between the Hornets and the league?
Malika, the Hornets are in contact with the league office to explore disputing the Lakers failing Mark Williams' physical exam. Essentially, the Hornets are questioning the validity of the failed physical exam conducted by the Lakers and weighing potential options to appeal. As we reported over the weekend, the Lakers failed Williams on his physical exam after acquiring him in a trade for Dalton Connect, a first-round pick and a pick swap. And they found multiple issues, from my understanding, in the physical exam not related to his back. So where we stand here are the Hornets and Lakers clearly on opposite ends of where this is all at. The Hornets believe that Williams is healthy, that he has a long career ahead of them, but clearly the Lakers felt like they found something in there that gave them pause, failing the physical and rescinding and nixing the trade.
Okay, so then on the Lakers side of all of this, I think the question is, now that the deadline is passed, what other options do they have at center here, Shams?
I'm told the Lakers are pursuing multiple big men in the marketplace right now. They know they need some size. Jackson Hayes right now is their only positional center. I would expect the Lakers to move on a potential big man in the next 24 to 48 hours. They are working. Rob Pelinka and that front office are trying to acquire a center. We saw how great Luka Doncic and LeBron James can make Jackson Hayes getting another big man there is of the utmost priority right now for the Lakers.
Yeah, and Luka Doncic said that that's really the thing that he wants to make sure this roster has. Shams, thank you. We're going to continue to follow this story as the Lakers still hope to add a big.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And then just not too long after that interview happened, Shams came back on with this.
SEC Bank.
Sources told me that the Lakers are waiving Christian Wood to sign Alex Len, 7-foot free agent center. That's going to give them some depth. They've been with just one center since this failed test and since the trade deadline last week. Just Jackson Hayes. Now Alex Len, he's played. He's in his 12th NBA season. He will join them on their front line.
And that's important. You just need size. You need some matchups. You need 6 fouls. You need somebody that can get rebounds. And Len trying to fill that in just a limited amount of minutes. We will see how that plays out.
Sources.
Yeah, just what LeBron wants. That's exactly the way it was all going to go down. Second round lost team at best. At best. Your LA Lakers. All right, a quick break, Angel. When we come back, actually, you know what? I don't know if we're going to take a break. I want to play this. You got to see this from because I don't know if we're going to have time to play it the rest of the show. If we scroll down a little bit, right under the NBA and TNT rosters is the big night for Bol Bol. Remember Bol Bol? You know, play at UCF. A big night for Bol Bol means no, it's actually about Kevin Durant. But a big night for Bol Bol means a big bowl for Shaq. Now watch this and try not to throw up.
He is only 2 points away from a double-double, which would be his 8th career. And I'm assuming that's why we have this on the
Like we always do at this time, every time my boy Bol play, I eat the nastiest bowl of cereal ever. We got some Cheerios.
Because his game is...
Oh, Sun Chips, Bol. This for you, baby, Sun Chips. Hold on. Don't forget, I got these hot Cheetos.
Hot Cheetos. How could we forget?
Yeah, right there. And then I'm going to top it off with some of these little M&Ms.
M&Ms.
Somebody will have a bathroom
You're
break.
going to use milk?
A little sprinkle of milk.
Did we pack some Tums?
And then we're going to top it off with this little Pepsi right here.
Wait, what?
Oh my God. Roll the tape.
Yeah, let's watch those Bol highlights as we mix this
roll
together.
The tape. Roll the tape. Let's go. I said roll the tape.
All right, so Bol early on defensively, Shaq.
That's right.
Edie.
7'5".
Block.
He blocks Edie right there, and then right here. 7'5", use that frame, get the rebound, kick it back to your guy, rebound and the
dime.
Way to go, Bol, dime, and right here. The first 7'5" guy to shoot threes. Y'all be talking about that other guy. Bol was the first. So right here, that's what I call a BDF right here. Big dog floater.
Wait for it.
8 and 10 for Bol.
Add a little bit more milk right here.
Yeah, nice. Oh, what a gross concoction. Oh, man.
Go ahead, go come.
Okay.
Slow down, Tito, now. Bol.
No. Now, from that, Angel, scroll down one, and this is what happened. Scroll down one. There you go. Yeah, this is what happened during the highlights. That's why he was saying go to tape, go to the highlights.
Yeah, because he switched it.
Bol.
Oh, no. Oh, you got
cheater.
Wow.
What are you doing? You ruined me, Art.
Wow.
Could have at least had the same size bowl.
Ruined me, Art. Okay, Art, dress warm.
Why?
Producer,
why?
By this time next week, you're going to be working in Alaska.
That's a Scarface reference, by the way. I get the best lawyer. He's so good. He's so good that tomorrow you're going to be working in Alaska, so dress warm. I remember the highlight in Scarface when he got bailed. He said, drug lord post record bond. It was like $500,000 back in 1980, 81 when he got.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I had just mentioned. So Friday was it? Yeah. Friday or Monday? Maybe no. I think it was Monday. Monday when Q was getting his. He was taking his licks because of the Eagles.
Yeah.
Somebody had mentioned a reference to Scarface about Howie. And I said, boy, how fun would it be if all the on-air talent would end up going together somewhere live on location and then watch Scarface after a broadcast, like at some big freaking place? That would be a lot of fun.
Such a great movie. And the movie did not do well initially at the box office. My parents loved it. I mean, they loved Al Pacino. I remember my parents, and I was, when did that come out? 1980. I was 13. I saw it, but my parents, I told them, were pretty good about me going to go to our movies. They weren't up in arms over it all. But I remember they had a date night. They came back from the movies. And I happened to be home on a Friday night, rarely for me, but at 13, I guess it was about 10 o'clock. It was one of the first movies, by the way, our first movie in a long time, besides like Cleopatra and The Godfather, that actually had an intermission. A lot of people thought the movie ended at the intermission. If you remember that movie, that's when he went to get LV and he had just killed Frank, and everybody thought the movie was going to end. And then it was said intermission coming up, and then it started with the money, the money changer, and all that stuff. But I remember my mother coming home, white as a ghost, and besides all the violence and everything else, which she didn't care, but she understands it. But she loved the acting and all that stuff. But it like made her physically ill. The only other time I ever saw her that way was when we first saw the first Alien together, all of us. I may have told this story before. We're at the Campus Cinema in Wakefield, Rhode Island. I'll never forget it. And, Alien, what's this movie going to be about? I never heard of Sigourney Weaver in my life. It's 1979. I'm 12 years old. when the alien popped out of what's his name's stomach while they're having dinner, right? And at the thing, he starts to convulse and it pops out. My mother ran to the bathroom and puked.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. She almost, because me, my sister Andrea, and the four of us are just sitting there. And of course, I'm like, wow, fucking cool. Because it was something like you didn't see that before. Like it was a weird special effect. I mean, now if that happened, you'd be like, yeah, no big deal.
Right.
But that was a big time special effect that my mother got up.
Oh, man.
Oh my God! It was just funny. It was just funny. But so Shaq cheated. I mean, when he put the Sun Chips in there with the Cheerios, I mean, oh God, I knew he wasn't going to eat it.
No, especially you're putting Pepsi and milk together too. There's no way. I'll bet.
No, you know where that's from? You know where that's from?
What's that?
What TV character in the 70s and 80s consistently put milk and Pepsi together? So much so that my sister used to do it.
Was that Laverne?
Laverne, yes. Laverne of Laverne and Shirley, yes. Penny Marshall. Yeah, Penny Marshall.
Yeah, Penny Marshall.
Both dead now, unfortunately. But she used to make milk and Pepsi on Laverne and Shirley, and it was legitimate. She used to drink it. Wow. And my sister started doing it, and she liked it. I took one sip one time. I almost puked. But yeah, good job, Angel. Yep. Laverne of Laverne and Shirley started the milk and Pepsi thing.
Those are shows back in the day. No one will ever know about.
Oh, it's Happy Days, and then Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy. Those Thursday nights at the time were great. And then Thursday nights on NBC got great too, with Cosby Show and then Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court. I mean, it was there was some, back when I could tolerate commercials. Now I have all those shows on Hulu and every other network. I absolutely refuse to watch commercials on. That's why I'll pay the extra money a month and just eliminate all the commercials. I don't have commercials on Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount Plus, none of it. I refuse, absolutely refuse. And if I do DVR a program, whatever it may be, just fast forward right away. It always says like choose what version on YouTube TV anyway. This, that, and the other thing. All right, there he is, just like that. There he is, my good man, Corey Schaub, great guy, former pro at Tiburon, but basically he's got the pro thing, he's got the pro mind, he's doing all sorts of stuff, giving lessons, making sure the club is safe for everybody and all that. But we're going to talk about the Chubb Classic with my good friend Corey Schaub over at Tiburon, one of the huge events in golf this year, especially in Southwest Florida. It's a huge event, 78-player field. It's been going on since Monday, all sorts of cool things. Corey, good morning. How are you? Thanks for taking a few. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Pete. The weather has been phenomenal and really cooperating with us. So Mother Nature has really helped out.
Can you imagine
super green and lush?
Thank God. We'll get into that in a sec, but thank God we didn't have the weather that we had for about, 10 or 11 days a couple of weeks ago when it was in the 40s and 50s. I can't imagine this field being here in Southwest Florida, in Naples, if it was like that. They would have lost their minds.
I know, it was cold. I was wearing long johns every day.
Me too. It's crazy. All right, so there've already been some great events going on. So explain to everybody who doesn't know, and they should know about this tournament. We know down here. I've got to broadcast over there a couple of times. You were on a couple of times on my former radio show that I had at ESPN Southwest Florida. But now this is a gigantic event. It is, and it's so much fun. And it's not overly expensive for an event like this. But just tell everybody what the Chubb Classic is all about.
Well, it's the Champions Tour event. It's the 50 and over men, and a lot of former PGA Tour champions in the field. Ernie Els, he's in the field. He's one of the favorites. Bernhard Langer's in the field, and he's won it a couple times, and he's competing high level. But it's Friday through Sunday. Today and tomorrow are the Pro-Am days, and it's a lot of fun. They really enjoy it.
I got to, Corey, you're cutting in and out a little bit. I can see you fine, but your audio is cutting in and out a little bit. Are you on your phone or you're on a laptop?
I'm on my phone.
Okay. That might be, hopefully it won't be an issue. I'll have to get it closer to you. You're looking happy and handsome, by the way, so don't worry about it. So what? Did you get to play with any of the guys this week? I know they have like a pro-am type of thing. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and some of you have to be invited. But did you get to play with any of the guys this week or talk to any of them?
No, not yet. Just been watching them practice on the range. Alex Chick was out there practicing. So was Jared Kelly. They came a little early for the tournament. They weren't over in Morocco, but they were out Sunday and Saturday practicing. So, but gorgeous weather. Big pro-am today and tomorrow.
All right. So now what? Now you were one of the head pros there before, and now you've cut back a little bit. So what's it been like for you? You get to walk around, and I know you're giving lessons. You're doing a whole lot of things with Tiburon. What's going on with you and the club right now?
The club's doing really good. Business is very busy. I'm just coaching and teaching now. We have a huge junior program. We got a big ladies beginner program going too. And so just trying to make sure people are having more fun when they play golf, get them interested in playing golf. Just get them enjoying their life when they're not at work. Make sure they're happy and having fun.
Yeah, and that's just it. And it's still that way as a teacher and a coach, to especially with the kids, to not get frustrated. You're not going to play like the LP. You're not there yet. How big is patience in your games? You're not a yeller or a screamer or anything like that. When I've seen you play, even when you've hit the occasional bad shot, which was not a lot the times we played together. I mean, you being the pro and basically a scratch golfer. But what's the biggest advice you give to your kids when you're coaching?
Well, you're gonna hit a lot of bad shots. You're gonna hit a lot of bad shots, and when you do, you just gotta say, hey, the next shot is an opportunity to hit a good one and bounce back. You can't go to that next shot all mad and angry because it's gonna hurt your chances of hitting a good one. We had a meet the pro night during the Grant Thornton Invitational, and that was Gabby Ruffles and the champ. Her big advice to the kids. Now we had the champion Knapp came and talked to them. They were telling the kids, the next shot, you got opportunity. You got to look at it every time.
Yeah, you know what? If you don't mind, Corey, I'm going to have you call into the number because you're cutting it out. You look great. The video is fine. Your audio is cutting in and out. Because I want to continue this a little bit longer if we can. Can I text you a number? And you just call it in.
Sure.
Call in. Okay. Give me 2 seconds. You can start, and then let's do this. We'll do it. It'll just be so now that everybody knows what you look like. Not that they didn't. If you don't, you can go on my Facebook page. You cool with that, Angel? Okay. Okay. So we'll get Corey now. Because it's an awesome event that's going on over there. Again, a 78-player field consisting of major champions, Hall of Famers, past champs, legends of the game, and the 54-hole championship. That's Friday through Sunday. As Corey said, there's the Pro-Am thing is today, which is always a whole lot of fun. Bernhard Langer, who I got to talk to a few years ago, Stephen Ames, Ernie Els, Steve Stricker, Tom Lehman, just a few that are going to be there. Corey, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, that sounds better. Now, look at that.
You can hear me good?
if you want to pop Corey's face up from the show today on my Facebook page, you can do that. I have a beautiful picture of the man. The Iowa Hawkeye fan, big Iowa Hawkeye fan. Oh, you're also a Kansas City Chief fan. I'm sorry.
That's okay. They had a hell of a season, and boy, did those Eagles. That Eagles defense was amazing.
Did you see the video this morning of Patrick from Sunday from Patrick Mahomes Sr. and John Rocker almost getting to come to blows? In
Really?
New Orleans?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh God! If you get it, you'll see it. It's gone viral. It's crazy. So, all right, let's get back to the Chubb Classic and the 3-day event for the main event is the Valentine's Day through the 16th. It's 54 holes, $1.8 million purse. That's huge, is it not?
Oh yeah, it's great for these guys. This is their, to be able to compete for this kind of money after 50. It's amazing. It's no other sports does this. There isn't a senior tour for baseball or for basketball or for football. This is golf. That's the great thing about golf. It's the game of your lifetime. You can go out and play, with your parents, your grandparents. I tell all the kids that, play with aunts and uncles and stuff. So it's a great sport.
Not only that, but even if you're mediocre or bad like me, mediocre at best. Well, I did get my handicap down at one time to 14, but it's just between shoulder stuff. Yeah, but that was, whatever. And I remember the last time we played together at Bonita National. I think you and I went out kind of on a whim, and we were 3 holes in, and I don't think I had hit a good shot. And I was like, and I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Anyway, you gave me one little pointer. It seemed it worked. I got my game back on, but you're a phenomenal player. This tournament has been in place since 1988. It's a 38th anniversary. But not only your point is a great one about playing with family and friends and all that stuff. How about business contacts? There is no better sport in the world. I don't care if you shoot a 202. The contacts that you can make playing golf and networking, right? I mean, it's like second to none.
Yeah. Yes, I tell all the, whenever we have beginners, I tell them, get ready. You're going to make a lot of friends. You're going to, once people hear you play golf, they'll invite you out to golf, and your company will ask you to play in charity events and stuff. And, and you meet so many great people and, a lot of nice people, and people really show their true self on a golf course, because you have to be, when you hit a bad shot, you can't really hide. You got to be humble and gracious. And when you hit good shots, you're so excited because you're so thankful to hit a good one. But it's a great sport. And you're outside in the sunshine.
Yeah.
The golf courses are gorgeous. They're such beautiful places.
Well, where you work, I mean, it's one of the best in all of Florida. I mean, that's not just saying it because you're on it because of Tiburon, but there's no question. It has got one of the best reputations. I have my TPC shirt on today. By the way, my Nike patch is falling. You can't see it, but my Nike thing is falling off. But this tournament has been around since 1988. Former champions include World Golf Hall of Famers, starting with Gary Player in '88, Steve Stricker, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, Freddie Couples, Bernard Langer. I mean, it's an incredible field.
Are you there?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say it's an incredible field. Do you have to turn anybody away? Do they have to turn anybody away from this tournament that wants to get in it by chance?
Well, yeah, they have to qualify to get into it, and the Champions Tour is very hard to get exempt status because, as you said, the fields are limited compared to a PGA Tour event where there's 136 players in each field. The Champions Tour, as you said, is only 74 to 78 people in a field, so it's hard to get into them. And there's many guys trying to get into them, so. There is an alternate list. I was looking at the alternate list earlier this morning to see who's waiting around to try to get in. Because at this age, people do have nagging injuries and bad backs and bad hips and stuff like that.
Yep. Okay, so now this is going to be played on the black course. There's 2 courses that I played on both of them. The black course is very difficult. They're both difficult. They're both championship level courses. I'm always amazed that I've never heard a sound of the ball hitting the green. It was very different from all the other courses that I ever played on. When I played the Gold Course, You might have even played with us back then. I can't remember. But the gold and the black course. But this is going to be they're both Greg Norman designed courses. So, what makes these two courses so special in your opinion?
Well, the gold is where we host the Grant Thornton and the LPGA Championship. So it's been shown on TV a lot. But the great thing about this Champions Tour is showing off the black course. And our members will tell you the black's harder, even though it's shorter. It's a touch. It tips out at 69.50, but our members will tell you it's the tighter of the two. They say the gold has more forgiving fairways, where this one has more tree-lined fairways. So it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. And some of the guys on the Champions Tour who had played in the shootout over the years, they were really impressed with the black course when they got to see it for the first time, and were like, "Wow, this really." The tightness of it and the tree lining of it really fits your eyes to hit shots and shape shots.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the shootout. This is a huge event. You'd mentioned the ladies there as well, that big LPGA event. I always remember you having your Lexi Thompson's sign and everything. She got engaged, by the way, I think. We all have our favorites. We all have our favorite men and women on the tour. I mean, me being, all that stuff. But we used to kid around a lot. It was like, I'd be like, Corey, here comes Lexi.
She's been great to watch over the years. Hopefully we'll see her in the Grant Thornton this coming fall.
Yeah, and then the Greg Norman has the Shark Shootout there as well, right?
No, it's no longer the Greg Norman Shootout. It's the Grant Thornton Invitational.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Pardon me. 16
PGA Tour players with 16 LPGA Tour players. It's been a huge hit. It's been awesome.
Yeah, but again, the black course, definitely the tighter, as you said, tips out at 6,950 yards, right around there. But designated as a certified Audubon cooperative sanctuary by Audubon International, which means you can't kill birds, right? Basically,
there's a lot of wildlife out there. It's amazing when you see some of the gators from a distance. You're like, is that a gator over there? And it sure is. You'll zoom in with your Bushnell and see it.
I got to ask you, because there's always a couple of gators at Tiburon. I know that, but when a lot of us, we first met when we all lived at Bonita National, and it was and I can't believe it was 8 years ago. I cannot believe I've been down here 8 years, but you have to admit, in all the golf courses that you have played in your life, did Bonita National not have the most gators of anybody, at least at one point? I mean, it was unbelievable. And not just, in the fescue swamp or anything. In the middle, tee boxes, middle. Yeah, exactly. But we loved it. I mean, tee boxes, middle of the fairway. I mean, we had some interesting lies, right? I would say over the years.
That one that was so close to the cart path in the tee box on the around 12 or 13. I was like, whoa.
We had some good times, and the crowds. Tell everybody they can purchase tickets, and I think for events like this, I think Tiburon does a great job with the price. I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah, today is closed to the public, but tomorrow they can come to the Pro-Am, and then the first round is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, the first, second, third round, but they can come to the tournament those days and have fun and enjoy seeing the pros. There's also there's a Healthy Paws adoption and donation drive. I was just reading on the website.
Oh, nice.
You'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
They can go to the Tito's Champions Lawn Thursday through Sunday from 11 to 2 to meet furry friends from the Humane Society of Naples. So that's pretty cool. I think I'll be participating in that. Check them out.
That's absolutely fantastic. And as far as people who haven't been to this yet, as far as the fans and being able to walk around the course, from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, any restrictions or anything, any do's and don'ts for the fans coming in as far as food or beverages or anything like that, or where they are allowed to walk around Tiburon on the black course?
No, it's just they've got the 9 holes situated really good. The one on this side of Livingston, they reroute the course a little bit so it's easy to walk. The 1-9 on the west side of Livingston, so it's really good. You can walk the first 4 holes, and then you can go over and watch the holes 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. The holes 8 through 15 can be a little bit of a challenge walking, but boy, they've got it great to walk the first 4 and the last 5 on this side of Livingston on the west side. So it'll be great.
And there's and people can purchase tickets. Can they come and purchase in person? Do they need to purchase on the webpage first and then pick up?
I think they can purchase right there on site. I've seen the ticket tents ready for them for the will call and for buying there on site. So it'll be good.
And plenty of food and beverages for people, correct?
Oh yeah, plenty of food and beverage options. They've got all the food and beverage tents up and ready to go. And make sure you stay hydrated. We're going to have low 80s every day. It's going to be gorgeous.
It is. We're about 10 degrees above what we normally are down here. And it's going to go down to the mid 70s on Monday. But this has been, I'm sure the players, because they're out older, I'm sure they'd rather play in weather like this. And it's not overly humid either. I think, you couldn't ask for better temperatures, right, going into this. It must be great for the course as well, maintaining.
Yeah, the sun and heat is super good for it. Like today, the high is 82. Tomorrow's 82, and Friday's 83. Saturday's 83. Sunday gonna be high of 79 only.
Only 79. Oh, the humanity. Corey, thanks so much. And if people want, if you get a lesson from you or you're coaching, is there a way they can get a hold of you, or just call Tiburon and ask for Corey Schaub?
Yeah, they can just call Tiburon and ask for me. And we also, if they've got kids out there, we've got a great junior program. If they know any beginners, we've got a great beginners program. But yeah, that's the whole goal, is helping people have more fun and enjoy the game of golf more. That way they play more. When people are having fun and hitting better shots, they'll play more and they gain more confidence, and when they get asked to play with their friends, they'll go and do it. You want them to have fun going out and playing with their friends, not being nervous and cringing the whole round and being worried about embarrassing themselves. So
you just described playing with me would be like you'd have fun playing with me, but you would be able to you would have fun because you'd be laughing at all my shots. 1 and 9 will stay in play.
That's part of it. I do like to laugh when I play.
I'm sorry, what?
I do like to laugh when I play. I laugh at myself all the time.
Yeah, but your laughs are like, I'm 20 feet away instead of 2 inches. And you're putting for eagle at 20 feet instead of 5 feet. That's your laugh. And they're like, Corey, don't 3-putt. And then you sink it. And I'm just like, and as I go through 2 boxes of balls, whatever. Hey, thanks so much, Corey. This has been a pleasure. Always appreciate it. And hopefully we get together soon. If not to drink, have a drink, play golf, whatever. And I'm going to see about if I can to get down there at least for a little bit this weekend. It is a blast, and it'll be on TV as well. If you can't get down there, it'll be on TV. But thanks so much, Corey. Always appreciate you, and all the best. And we'll talk soon.
Take care, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you. There is Corey Schaub, former pro at Tiburon, but now is one of the coaches for the Junior League, and also gives lessons. And there's a great event, the Chubb Classic. I recommend it highly. If you've never been to a big-time golf event, you do not want to miss this. It is absolutely fantastic in Naples, Florida. And if you have to drive an hour or two, it is absolutely worth it. There's plenty of bars and places around to go afterwards. And the weather's going to be drop-dead gorgeous down here. So, all right. With that, Angel, going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and Bookies.com is going to join me here on the Pete Sheppard Show, rolling right along here on Hump Day Wednesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-5 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuggio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Yeah, going old school. I feel like this is about the Red Sox. We're about to open up spring training today. Pitchers and catchers down at JetBlue, right down the street, which means traffic's going to increase. Come on, baby, that fire. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. And joining me for his weekly visit from the Boston Herald, a great columnist is Bill and Bookies.com senior betting analyst, Bill Sparrows. How about this? Would this be good walk-up music?
Stop Nixon's war.
Yes. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Wonderful, Pete. It's opening day, sort of. You know, we got pitchers and catchers, and hopes are soaring, and all those new big name free agents are in camp. You know, the big stars. The Red Sox signed the offseason, like
Red Sox going to lose out
no
to the
bag of
Dodgers.
donuts and Freddie No Name and Tommy Who's That. You know, all these guys.
Tommy, yeah, and they're still waiting. And watch the Tigers slip right in. We'll get to the Red Sox in a second. I did want to. We got to talk about the Super Bowl first. And Nevada, if people listened to me, they would have taken the Eagles and the over and made a bunch of money. But instead, they went with the obvious, what they thought was the obvious. And I told everybody for 2 weeks that Kansas City was not going to win this game. But Nevada Sportsbook won a state record $22.1 million on Super Bowl LIX. Man, so
yeah, it was almost a 12% hold. You know, the books did really well, even though the sides were all on Philadelphia covering and the over. The public sentiment in terms of those traditional bets were all on the public was about 55% to 45 on the money line. A little higher on the spread. It was almost 60-40 on the spread, and it was about 55-45 on the over. So the public did really well on those sort of traditional bets. But where the books made all of their money on that game was on the fact that neither Travis Kelce nor Saquon Barkley scored a touchdown.
Yes.
And that wiped out pretty much everyone's
guilty.
That's where they, you know, and I'm trying to be more cognizant of this and what I do. You know, parlays are like basically half. And I would be not surprised if we were to find out that if you looked at all the tickets that were placed on this game, you had more parlay tickets than non-parlay tickets. I would venture to say that was probably a pretty reasonable assumption. You know, you have a lot of the heavy players as sharps. You know, you saw some $800,000, $300,000, $500,000 bets come in on the Eagles around game day. And my supposition is, you know, if any of that was smart money, I think we're going to find out that Pat Mahomes was hurt somehow. I mean, he had real problems with mobility. I mean, you saw in so many of those sacks, it seemed like he couldn't even step out of the pocket to at least throw the ball. And when he was being chased, he wasn't nearly as quick as he was. He was sort of favoring his right leg. So pure supposition. I think there was probably some belief that he wasn't 100% coming into that game. And I think that was a reason why you did see a lot of traditional wagers come in on Philly as the week wore on. But in terms of the profitability of the sports books, it was because Saquon Barkley not scoring on, you know, and they had that like first and goal, whatever.
Yep.
That was from a betting perspective, that was the pivotal moment of the game.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. But I still think, you know, and maybe it comes out that Patrick Mahomes was a little gimpy or whatever, like he was against the Buccaneers. But on the other hand, I can't take away what was an awesome game plan by the Eagles. They only rushed 4 the whole game. They didn't blitz one time. Kansas City didn't cross midfield until their 9th drive. I mean, there's a lot. But like you, I'll tell you, you know, it was a last-second little prop bet I did. I threw in Xavier Worthy, and he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
At the end. Otherwise, I did do not big money on the prop bets and everything else. I did do very well on the Eagles and the over, but the other prop bets, because of, I mean, Saquon Barkley, just that alone must have evened out. Unbelievable. If you had just showed me his line, 25 yards, 50, 25 carries for 54 yards, whatever it was, I would have said they probably would have lost the game because they had.
Yeah, well, I believe that's what the Chiefs thought too. Obviously, that was their game plan.
Yep.
All the credit in the world to Vic Fangio, the unsung hero of that game. And I got to say, one of the many victory laps I think Patriots fans can take for as long as they want is in addition to the death of the Brady Mahomes narrative, the Travis Kelce Gronk narrative was actually cremated on Sunday night. It wasn't just buried; it was cremated. I don't think Travis Kelce threw a block all night, and we all know the best part about Gronk's game, in addition to his final catch as a member of the Patriots setting up the lone touchdown in Super Bowl 53, was that he blocked and he played balls out on every single.
He loved it. He loved blocking. We talked to him. He loved blocking more than catching.
Yeah.
He loved it. I've never seen it. Maybe Russ Francis back in the day, old school. But Gronk loved to block. And Tony Gonzalez was obviously a Hall of Fame. Great. But nobody not only blocked as well as Gronk, just loved that part of the game. He loved it.
And there was and I think Philly figured that out, which is why they only needed to rush 4 guys. When your tight end is not going to block and not even going to try to block, I think people have to remember about Kelce. He only had 3 touchdowns this year. And he played great in the playoffs, but those were both Park Avenue aided victories.
First catch in the third quarter of the Super Bowl.
We were down 34 points, and then he caught a ball. He was a complete no-show in this game, a 100,000% complete no-show. And frankly, I think after he saw them boo his girlfriend, I think he just checked out. I think he checked out of that game. When they were down 17-0, and then they showed her getting booed in the stadium.
He said he was devastated, right? He said he was devastated.
Yeah, I think he checked out. I think he had 100% checked out of that game. And you want to know how I knew that was on the second to last drive when I had DeAndre Hopkins over 11.5 yards and he hit 11 yards. And then Mahomes threw that dart to D-Hop, who basically caught it out of bounds, even though his feet were inbounds. It was an amazing catch.
It was.
And Kelce was on the other side of the field, and Mahomes didn't even look at him. So Mahomes knew that Kelce had checked out. That is, and I don't want to take anything away from the Eagles. They had the great offensive line, the great defensive line. They protected their quarterback, and they won the game. That's how you win football games, thank God. But Travis, the Travis Kelce story is still one of the great stories of this game that has yet to be told, because you talk about someone who had so much hype and talk and money. He had a lot of money on it, and he just completely checked out. Complete no-show.
And it's funny because Patrick Mahomes Sr., after that viral video, is going to get more pub. Did you see the video of him and John Rocker outside? And I'm assuming it was kind of right after the game or whatever. When's the last time you heard John Rocker's name mentioned at all?
I don't know what that was. It was like the old bum fight videos you used to watch. Like in the early days of the internet, they do bum fights. Yeah. That was like a bum fight video. It'd be like if you threw like $2 in the alley and like 2 homeless guys were going at it. I didn't know what was going on. I know John Rocker looked rather large. Yeah. And, Pat Mahomes Sr. is not young. He's not a young man.
He's also not a very big guy.
Yeah. He was a pitcher.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking, I'm just from sight. And the fact that John Rocker still had a beer in his hand and he was ready to throw down with just one hand. I'm thinking, I'm giving John Rocker, I want him on, I'm going to give him a TKO in the second round of that fight.
And maybe somebody was saying maybe it's set up for some stupid celebrity boxing matches are coming out.
Maybe. It could be true.
In this day and age, you never know what's staged and what
isn't. Bum fights too.
So approximately $151.6 million was bet on this year's Super Bowl in Nevada, a 20.1% decrease from last year's game, which took place in Vegas, and set a record for amount wagered at $190 million. Why do you think the decrease?
There was a lot of talk online and on social media about what a terrible week this was in Las Vegas. Hotel rooms were going for $11 during, right up until Sunday. You could have got a room at Caesars Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night for $43. Yep. Of course, one of the problems in Vegas is it's $43 plus $70 in fees.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of really reasoned speculation about why Vegas had such a terrible Super Bowl. And I think if for anyone who's been to Vegas in the last post-pandemic, if you've been to Vegas post-pandemic, you've really noticed a change. And like the parking, that was the first thing that struck me was the parking. That you actually have to pay to park at a hotel and a casino in Vegas now. Every hotel has that. I never remembered paying for parking
At
until
any casino for that matter.
And so stuff like that, parking, resort fees, everything costs more, obviously. But I think there's a perception among the public that it's really not worth the effort and cost to go to Vegas anymore.
I totally agree.
Because not only can you gamble anywhere. I mean, there was gambling, but it was always fun to go to Vegas because the barriers to entry were so low. There were no extra fees. You could get a decent meal for not a lot of money. There was value everywhere. And now you have these 000 roulette wheels and, like minimum 5 and 6 deck blackjack. And it's just like everybody feels like they're getting jobbed.
Bill, I've been there post-pandemic. I've been 3 times since then, including last year on Radio Row. And it was an embarrassment. It was the worst it was the worst Super Bowl atmosphere I've ever been to. And I've been to 7 or 8 of them, and that was by far the worst. They treated everybody, and I'm not just talking about media should get preferential treatment or anything like that. It just felt like you should be thankful that you're here. Whereas we talked to the New Orleans hospitality people, Angel did as well, during the week, because they always have the next year's, in New Orleans, they had the Santa Clara people, I'm sure, that were there. And they were just shaking their head. They're like, this will not happen to once. I said, I know it won't. I've gone to a couple of New Orleans events, Super Bowls and Final Fours, and it's never been nothing but class. And at least, but Vegas last year was awful. Drinks were $12 on average. There was, unless you were at the bar and sticking a 20 in and faking it, you would be able to have some cocktails for free. There were no $5 or even $10 tables anywhere, all over the place. I didn't go downtown, the Binions down that area. I don't know, maybe it was a little bit different. But like you said, parking and people having stuff that you never had to do.
It's very inconvenient.
Yeah.
And I know, with the
expensive.
With the F1 race, 4 months a year, the traffic is terrible because it takes 4 months to build out that course. Like if you were to go there right now, you'd have to, you'd probably be fine. You go in the fall, leading up to that race, which is, I think it's in November. Like I was there for work last year in October, and you couldn't drive anywhere because of the fact that, they have to build out the F1 course. So, and obviously these hotels, when rooms at Caesars are going for $43 on Super Bowl weekend, they got a problem. And it's not, there will be data like we've seen with, the betting on the Super Bowl was down. That's a data point that they have to pay attention to. I know the hotel there were hotels that actually had negative revenue days where, they didn't even bring in enough money to make their nut. So I think they're going to have to figure something out because, there's competition obviously in the gambling space, and there's also competition in the resort space. To get what you got in Las Vegas, you don't have to go to Las Vegas anymore. And if you can go somewhere else and, frankly, gamble on your phone and still get all those other, the other issue they have there is the entertainment. The Sphere is bringing in people. Thank goodness for them. But, you're not really
to get in, though. The prices are obscene.
I know that. But you're not getting the type of entertainment you used to get. You have some residencies, but even those residencies, they're there for like 5 days a month.
Yeah.
It's not even a residency.
Yeah.
I've seen
Beyond and those people.
because I'm planning. I got a couple of work trips, and it's just like, oh, so-and-so's in resident. Oh, no, they're not in like these 55 days. So there's a lot of work they have to do. Obviously, from the sports betting perspective, they had the game there last year. So obviously, And Vegas is, Nevada is all retail still. I mean, to wager online in Nevada is a real pain. So obviously, I think they've done it before. Vegas they've adapted multiple times over the years, and they're going to have to do it again, I think, because that kind of post-pandemic rush is over domestically across the board. That travel is that pandemic rush is over. So they got some work to do. Overall, in general, the books did well. They did well in terms of volume. They all made more money this year than they ever had before because the volume was greater. I'm not so sure the percentages are. We'll see what these holds end up being. But, from their perspective, if Saquon Barkley had scored, I think it would have been a financial bloodbath.
Wow.
But he didn't score, and that swung, that might have swung 40% of their tickets. Who knows?
I think you're right. What about my theory when I saw some of these numbers? And we've heard people say this. Maybe they're not big NFL. I've heard people who are big NFL fans. I've heard people that are not NFL fans or casual fans, but only watch the Super Bowl. Not going to watch because of the officials, sick of the Chiefs, and hate both teams. Did that, I've heard those three. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's part of the reason why they're down 20%, 19% this year.
Well, again, you have to remember that number is just basically retail betting in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, just Nevada, exactly.
So, but elsewhere, online, there was more money bet on this game than on any single event ever in American history.
Yep.
And so we know the TV audience was as high as ever. I think a lot of people would hate watching the game, to be honest. I had no rooting interest in it. I had some money. I probably net down about $150. So, I think people had bet on the game. I think, there was that whole, Taylor Swift thing, which is finally behind us. I think there was concern about the refs. Tom Brady, to his credit, raised that in the first quarter.
He did.
I posted on social media, only half jokingly, that once they booed Taylor Swift, Roger Goodell gave the code red and told the refs to back off. And I said Philly by 50, and they were up 34 points.
But again, in the first play, A.J. Brown makes that great catch, great throw. And okay, if he had caught it, it would have been a stiff arm, but a little ticky-tack for offensive pass interference, which Tom brought up. However, not too long after that, Goddard gets, they throw the unsportsmanlike conduct during the Goddard play. And after that, so it kind of evened out. And then you didn't have to talk about the officials and all the rest of the game.
Well, again, that's
99%. Thank God for that.
Well, it's funny you say that. I think the NFL needed this game more than they let on, because you had Troy Aikman coming out and talking about how people are betting on these games, and if the public thinks that the refs aren't on the up and up, that's a problem. Troy Aikman was saying that.
Terrell Owens said it was rigged on one of his podcasts.
Well, that's Terrell Owens.
I know it is, but it made a lot of sense in what he was saying.
Of course it did. But again, it's all about perception, right? And there was a perception among a sizable portion of the public, voiced by two quarterbacks who between them have 10 Super Bowl rings, if my math is correct.
Yes.
That this is a problem. So it's a problem. And now the NFL could say, hey, look at this game. The best team won. They kicked ass. So the NFL needed that. The NFL needed that to say, look, it's still football. You get a big offensive line. You protect your quarterback. You get a good defensive scheme, and you pressure Pat Mahomes and get him out of the pocket and make him throw when he doesn't want to throw, and take away their running game, and you win the Super Bowl. And so the whole ref argument is now moot, and it's a credibility argument. No one in their right mind can say that the Eagles didn't win that game fair and square.
Yeah.
So that's what the NFL needed. The NFL needed a Super Bowl where the outcome was, as the president said, too big to rig.
Yep.
And this game was too big to rig. So that's kind of what the NFL needed. They needed that. They needed a game to be decided on the field. And this game was clearly decided on the field and before the game in terms of the defensive scheme of Vic Fangio. And Jalen Hurts only throwing one pick.
And even that wasn't bad because that was like a punt. It was at
yeah,
the,
and
down
so
to 3
even
yards.
you know, Jalen Hurts not screwing up, and Pat Mahomes having the worst game of his life in a Super Bowl, and the NFL can now say, let's not talk about the refs. Of course, officiating's a problem. There's a million things to be, but in terms of the games being rigged, you can't say that game was rigged.
No,
So,
I never used the word
that's what
rigged.
the
I just
NFL
was
needed.
curious. Yeah. I've never used the word rigged. I'm just saying, look, there's blatant evidence there. And the fact that the referees had to come out, the head of the NFL referees had to come out last week on Tuesday and put out a statement says a lot. I've never seen that to try to defend the bad calls, and for nothing else, at least in the Bills-Chiefs game in the AFC Championship. I had never seen that before, which to me sounds like it's almost like an admission of guilt when you have to come out and say that to the public. Really?
Whatever you're the loudest about is normally what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'll say, like, oh, I have no woman chasing me. I don't have any women after me, and the girls don't like me, and that's sort of the opposite of what I have to deal with.
Your wife whacking upside your head. Come on, Bill.
What do you mean? She's the one giving me the numbers.
Yeah, I know. Smart attorney that she is. All right. Let's switch gears. Bill Sparrow's joining us, for the great columnist for the Boston Herald and senior betting analyst from bookies.com. So today, we already got some texters that early in the show, they were at JetBlue already. And this was like at 8 o'clock. Watching workout, 7:30, I should say, watching workouts. So pitchers and catchers, there are many of them reporting today. And as you said, and all those comparisons to 1975 this season may make the one even more bittersweet and frustrating. I have no idea what to expect. I'm not overly excited. Usually I love this time of year, but the last couple of years have been very, very difficult because I do not know. I don't know what the hell this is going to happen. Now, you have the back cover of the Herald today. What? Pandemic, OBF, Sox need apathy vaccine. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea.
Well, nobody does, and that's fine. Worst thing is to have expectations and have them not met. So it's perhaps better that there are no expectations. So there's only an upside. For me, the Red Sox are the maestros of mediocrity. The numbers literally prove it. And that's like the worst thing you can be, right? 2011 was like great. We're still talking about 2011. Everybody forgets, like 2014 or 2022 or 20 when they finished in last place, when they were or whatever this last year, the 81 and 81 is like boring. Who cares? Now they're in a position, they need to do something. They need. There's no buzz. There's no excitement. There's no big names. I looked at the projected starting lineup, and it's like the same slugs they had last year. And apparently, their whole strategy is like Trevor Story's going to shore things up on the infield, right? Like he's going to be healthy, and I don't want to go like old fart on everyone. I mentioned in my column about because we're going to get an overdose of 1975, which again is not going to end well for this version of the Red Sox. The team had 3 Hall of Famers, and that doesn't even include Dwight Evans and Louis Tiant.
That's right.
Rick Burleson in 1975, he played 158 games, most games in Major League Baseball. He started 157 games at short.
No load management. Obviously. But a lot of those guys did back there.
But I looked it up, and I didn't put this in my column. I looked it up today. Since the Red Sox signed Trevor Story, you want to know how many games he's played in 3 seasons?
No, I know. It's obscene.
162. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the anchor of the infield, the savior, the right-handed savior of the Red Sox, in 3 years basically has played the same number of games that Rick Burleson played in 1 season in 1975. So the whole thing on the Red Sox. It's Marquise Grissom at second and Trevor Story at short. Like between the two guys, they played that position like maybe 50 times last year. So there's a lot of hope here, like a lot of fingers crossed. that, like these guys are going to be healthy all of a sudden, and that they're going to not only be healthy but have great years. And the middle of that infield has been a disaster since Bogart's
Totally.
left. And they did it to themselves, and it's still a huge problem. And you got this guy. Everybody knew 3 years ago. They all knew what Trevor's story was. They knew what they were getting. They knew the guy had injury problems. The same thing with this pitcher, Garrett Crochet. He's the next, Dick Raditz or whoever you want to compare him to. But he's 25 years old. He's 6 seasons. He's never thrown more than 140 innings, and he's also got the injury-prone thing. So I think there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and fingers crossed, and talk about the farm system. But none of this is going to translate to anything on the field. You're asking the core of your infield, two guys that haven't played a full season in 5 years, to be not only healthy but at their top level of production in order to be competitive, and that's a huge ask.
No question. I mean, I'm a little potential, and the word of the day is potential with Red Sox, because you mentioned Garrett Crochet, but Crochet, Giolito, Bayo. I mean, those three. There's potential there just with those three. You throw in Tanner Houck, you throw in Walker Buehler. I mean, they have the potential to be a decent starting five. I think they do if they stay reasonably healthy, but that's just it, reasonably healthy. And then, as you said to me, I think their starting pitching is actually going to be okay. And which means the bullpen should be better than last year when they were coming in at the 5th and 6th innings all the time and then get absolutely ragged and were off. But as you said, I'm worried about the middle of the infield, because that's the kind of stuff where they're not good enough to overcome an error or two a game. They're not good enough. Yeah, not that I know. Maybe this team will be. But in the past, they got to play near perfect baseball. How many frightfully botched plays did they have last year that cost them games?
Well, and the fact that they have no power from the right side of the plate.
Another great point. Yeah.
Unless Trevor Story decides to, again, yeah, you're right. It's potential. It's hope. It's all those things. But they still haven't they spent less this offseason than the Sacramento Athletics. I mean, just think about that, kids. Let that one burn into your soul, that John Henry's Red Sox spent less money than a team that is playing in Sacramento, California this year. That's an embarrassment.
That's an embarrassment. The only other really embarrassing story in Major League Baseball is down here with the Rays' uncertainty of games at Steinbrenner Field, and that debacle that's going on. But you just said, really, that's disgusting. Like, I want to throw up that the A's are spending more money.
I put that in the column. The Red Sox spent less money this offseason on free agents than the Arizona Diamondbacks or Sacramento Athletics.
That is just absolutely pathetic. Well, Bill, thanks so much as always. Great stuff. Check out his column. I'll retweet it as well. The Boston Herald is great stuff. So, when you're headed this way next month? Oh, you're not. I know you're headed this way next month because we're going to meet up. But anytime soon, as far as covering games, we'll just wait.
I don't think so. I think we're going to be at the New Smyrna Beach compound. I have a business trip in Boston in a couple of weeks, but that's it. Otherwise, we'll be in the New Smyrna Beach compound until we head down to Fort Myers in the middle of March.
Sweet. That's great. I can't wait till finally we hook up. It's going to be a great time. Thank you so much as always. We'll be reading the Herald and I lose track of everybody. Who's covering for the Red Sox this year? I lose track of all the writers.
Max Cirillo and Gabriel Starr are covering the Red Sox for us. I think the Globe has the same crew as before.
Yep.
Pete and Alex Spear.
Yep. Yeah. Alex does a great job. Everybody does a great job usually covering the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Red Sox, Red Sox fans are lucky in a sense that, the Herald does obviously I'm biased, but I think the Herald does a good job.
It's a great job.
Covering all the teams. Doug Kite and Andrew Callahan was spectacular this year on the Patriots. Mm-hmm. So, Red Sox fans are lucky. They have two outlets in the Globe, in the Herald, that devote significant resources to covering these teams. Obviously, the Herald doesn't have the pockets of the Globe that still travels to every game. But there's a lot of good stuff out there from a lot of outlets. Not obviously online on social media. There's a lot of good Red Sox blogs. There's a lot for Red Sox fans to absorb. The team is so lucky in that sense that they still have that kind of earned media. And I think, I want to root for the Red Sox. I wrote in my column, I was 10 years old in 1975. That was like my baseball year.
Yeah. That's the first year I went to Fenway. I was 8.
I want to root for the Red Sox. I want the Red Sox to win. I want them to do well. But, in the meantime, as a columnist, I'm going to keep whacking. I'm going to keep chopping wood on ownership until they do something.
Quickly, over under, if you had a prop bet for John Henry making an appearance before Saturday, what would it be? Odds 4-1, 5-1, 1,000-1.
Because the Red Sox, they do surprise. I have to keep it at like plus 350 yes, minus 500 no.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I think he might. I'm doing my best to goad him, and I don't know if he bothers to read.
Johnny, come here, Johnny.
I think somebody over there must. So if I can play any sort of role in goading him to doing this by speculating that he's cryogenic, that he's dead, that he's been reanimated, that he doesn't know that he owns a baseball team, that his wife is secretly running the world. I mean, anything to piss him off enough for him to get him to show. I am going to take credit if he does show up.
I will give you credit. Absolutely. Bill, thank you so much. We'll talk soon. All the best this week. Thanks for everything.
Okay. Thank you, Pete.
All righty. There he is. Bill Sparrow, senior betting analyst from bookies.com and great columnist for the Boston Herald. He just tweeted it out. Make sure you read it or I will find you. All right. Quick break, Angel. Up next, Mick Colagio. We're going to talk some hockey a little bit here. John Meter Perel at the bottom of the next hour as well. And we'll talk about God only knows what. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Here's a song that'll get you in the mood for hockey. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. It's hour number 3 of The Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. And man, I know this, but Mick Colagio is an outstanding disco dancer, and he has all the Danny Terrio videos on tape. And you know, it's just seen him on skates back in the day. Still, when disco comes on, old school. Mick Colagio, one of the great NHL insiders here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I am well, Peter. How are you doing?
I am, as G. Gordon Liddy used to say, remember we both worked at WARA back in the day, and I used to have to do the news for his show. He'd say, good morning, I am G. Gordon, good afternoon, I'm G. Gordon Liddy. I am vibrant and potent.
And you, of course, were the one who called up management when you spotted the automation equipment.
I did. Yeah, Gene L. back then didn't take too kindly to me finding that out. I'm like, I was like, who do you think? This is before Boston, by the way, but that was a pretty big AM station that we worked at, and big FM station too that we did. Automation equipment came in, and I'm like, Mick, we're in trouble. Or you had already left, I think. You had already left.
No, I would. Yeah, the timeline's kind of hard right now, but I do know that I thought I saw these machines, and back then when computers were very large, and
Yes.
so these things were like the size of refrigerators.
Because I had seen it, because I had worked in something that's a similar situation that had happened before. And I told our program director, Larry, and our news director, Fran, at the time, I won't say their last names, but I was like, we're all going to get fucked here. So,
yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And then the GM denied it to my face, and I'm like, well, you know what? Here's my 2-week notice, so I'll save you waste your time.
Well, that's what I loved about you, Pete. You're proactive.
I was. I'm like, when the Patriots get rid of a guy a year early instead of a year late, I've always been that way. Don't piss up my don't throw water on my back and piss up and call it rain or whatever. What's that saying? Don't.
Yeah. I've never used it, so I don't want to try to do it for the first time here and now.
Don't piss on my back and call it rain. That's what it was.
There you go.
Exactly. All right, let's get into some hockey. Before we get into, the tournament that begins tonight that I think has not been overly promoted well by any of the networks, to be honest. Maybe the NHL network probably has. But I'm still I'm disappointed with ESPN and ABC. I think it's going to be very difficult for a number of reasons, including prices of these seats. But I want to go. Let's talk a little bit. We talked a little college hockey last week as well. I thought you had a great tweet a couple of days ago. Jay Pandolfo has Boston University playing like the 90s New Jersey Devils from whom he played, and now they got a big goalie who reminds me of Ken Dryden, only right if they meet again. And what a dominating...
Meaning BC and BU.
Meaning BC and BU that met in the Beanpot final 4-1 by BU. But your overall thoughts, and a lot of coming up, a lot of NHL players on both rosters that are coming, sooner rather than later.
College hockey has become a great runway to the NHL. And it's not a brand new thing, but it's taken on and like this exponential dimension now, whereby it's on the verge of becoming the preferred choice. Players from all over the world are on these teams. This goalie who won the MVP of not of the Beanpot tournament, but of the final game, Yegorov, he's Russian. Another great Russian goalie. The NHL doesn't have enough of those.
You brought him up last week, I remember.
He's a little raw, but he does remind me of Dryden. Maybe in terms of his awkwardness as a goalie who's so big, but when a goalie has a great dynamic interaction with his team defense and they funnel the attack, and that goalie's a big goalie, then it gets like the Anaheim Ducks was J.S. Jaguar back in 2003 when they were still the Mighty Ducks and they took the Devils to 7 and they lost and he wound up winning the playoff MVP, the Conn Smythe, Jean-Sebastien Jaguar. And Jaguar was just it wasn't like a big goalie who just tried to be big and get in the way. He was aggressive. He cut down angles, kind of old school, but he did it with such confidence because of the team defense that Mike Babcock back in 2003 and then in 2007, Randy Carlyle had them playing when they won the Stanley Cup. So, and they had legendary defensemen by then with Chris Pronger and Scott Niedermayer in front of them. So it was very New Jersey Devils-like at that point.
All right. So, and you mentioned Providence and Maine, that 1-0 great game as well. It's going to be fantastic. Not only
Hockey East, Hockey East tournament should be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable.
And the NCAA tournament is always something else. Last year, Boston College was a juggernaut, and then they got to the final against Denver, and Denver played like an NHL team. Yeah, they were so hard on the puck. It was just a different kind of hockey that they weren't quite accustomed to. And
I really thought last year would be BC and BU in a final if it worked out that way. But anyway,
I
wouldn't be shocked if it's that again. And
there's always somebody who has something else to say.
It's always one of those little teams out west that nobody, that's just the Denver's always had a great program for many, many years. And then
Jim Montgomery had a terrific team there, won the championships, and Danton Heinen was one of his players.
That's right. All right, let's get, here we are, the Bruins, 57 games in, 27-24-4. Incredibly, if the playoffs started today, they would not be in the playoffs. And I want to talk about how that is going to affect this upcoming Four Nation tournament, because you brought this up a month ago that if they were not doing well, you did not think it was going to be a good show at the Garden, even though Mike Sullivan's coaching and McAvoy's there and others. For the Bruins, but let's just stick with the Bruins for a second here. They're still in the thing. They're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. It's been the season though of 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, and it was another a bad loss, I thought, against Vegas to close out this little stretch the other day. That was that was terrible when they seemingly had the game. They had it and just pissed it away. It was unfortunate to end the way they did going into this tournament.
It was a gut-wrenching, devastating, I don't know if I'd call it backbreaking, because the Bruins have soldiered on this season through many trials and tribulations, and have bounced back to try to get their breathing apparatus near sea level, and at times poke above and can get some air. But right now, they're below, and they have to play more road games than they do home games the rest of the way. Where in the road, if you look at their road record, it's 9-15-3.
Yep.
They have won 9 out of, 18, 27. 9 out of 27 games they've won on the road. That's horrible.
Terrible.
You're not going to be a team that can impact the playoffs if that's what you are on the road. And if they ever make the playoffs, they'll be starting on the road. That's number one. The other thing is, we're still at a point at Four Nations where the Bruins have played at least as many or more games than their competition for these playoff spots in the wild card position. And we can pretty much kiss off the idea of them getting near the Lightning, who still have played 2 fewer games than the Bruins and lead them by 6 points. It's getting late. You have to leapfrog. When you have to leapfrog a lot of teams, the only thing that a team can do to make that happen at the point like this is win something like 7 or 8 in a row. And there's been nothing about this team this season that tells me that that's what's going to happen. They continue to not be able to outscore their mistakes, whether they're playing well, whether they're playing a tough opponent, whether they're playing poorly, whether they're putting up a lot of goals, whether they're struggling to score. There's always a mistake that just bites them. Nikita Zadorov probably had one of his most impactful games of the season for the Bruins. He scored a goal.
Yep.
He would have had another one. That was going in whether or not Marchand was technically a goalie interference. They called it. It was the right call, but it actually turned out to be a bad play from the outcome standpoint because that puck was going in.
Yeah.
So he would have had 2 goals in that game. But what I will remember is in the penalty kill, Zadorov had the puck probably about 8 feet right of Swayman, right of the right post, and waited, decided, changed his mind, and then tried to go up the middle in the air. It got knocked down, and 20 seconds later, the puck was in Boston's net. That's just inexplicable stuff. I mean, didn't
go off the porch? When in doubt,
how about Guy Lapointe just pulling out the old 9-iron?
Exactly.
I mean, it used to be that guys could just very easily just scoop the puck and put it in the air and make it land at the opponent's blue line so that it doesn't have the momentum to carry for an icing. Well, in that case, it's a PK anyway, so who cares? So why is this even a possibility? But that's what happened. This is them. This is them this year. And if it isn't him, it's somebody else.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the other disturbing stat is they are a -25. And then you mentioned the Tampa Bay Lightning, who I will never count them out because I think John Cooper is a terrific coach. And there's just something about that team. They're 500 on the road, 13-13-2. They've won 4 in a row. And what's amazing about them is they are a +44. That is the second best in the NHL, not just the Eastern Conference. In the NHL, only the Capitals are better at +56. The Lightning are a +44. That's better than anybody in the West. Edmonton's a +43, and the Winnipeg Jets are a +68. They lead. But I think the Lightning are going to be very, very dangerous if they stay reasonably healthy come playoff time. That's a great stat.
The key for them is, unlike the last couple of seasons, they need Vasilevsky and their 3 big defensemen, Victor Hedman, Eric Chernak, and McDonough, who's back on the team now after touring the league. He's back from Nashville. Sergachev got moved. McDonough's back in. He still gets some legs. If those three guys stay healthy, and Vasilevsky's healthy, then they have the offensive pop and the grit to spoil the party for some other teams, if not threaten to come out the East themselves. Still a great hockey team.
No question about it. I want to play this clip for you for a second here and tell me what you think. And Mike Sullivan is obviously going to be coaching starting tomorrow when Team USA plays against Finland. It starts tonight with Canada and Sweden. But here's Mike Sullivan about talking about Charlie McAvoy.
Well, obviously, we're excited to be here. We're really looking forward to the opportunity to compete in this tournament. I never anticipated that this would become a reality. Obviously, Charlie means the world to us, to our family. First and foremost, he's a terrific hockey player. He's a fierce competitor, but he's a great kid and a good person, and he means the world to our family. So to have the opportunity to coach him in an event like this is an incredible privilege for both of us. I think, someday we might look back on this and smile.
I think everybody has the same mindset here. None of this is about the individual. We're all here. We're all honored to be a part of this team. This is a very special group that we have. And whatever your role is, which, we're starting to find out what it is, everybody's going to buy in and do it to the best of their ability. We talked about it in the room. Like, everybody plays 6-on-5, your first power play, your first PK. Like, this is the best of the best. I'm willing to step aside, as is everybody, to fall into whatever role this is to help us win. I think today was a good day of that, and we're going to continue to keep getting better.
All right, so there is Mike Sullivan, obviously Charlie McAvoy, and as far as leadership goes going into this exhibition tournament, of course, I don't like exhibition tournaments because I don't want my guys getting hurt, because I don't think this means a whole hell of a lot.
There's a lot of Bruins fans who feel that way, and their feelings would be that way times 10 had the season been better.
Exactly. But what do you think of coach? We all know and respect Mike Sullivan for what he's done on and off the ice, and not just because he's a New England guy, but coaching not just with the Bruins, but he's so well respected. How much leadership is going to fall on the hands of Charlie McAvoy here, you think?
Well, it's a great growing opportunity for him. I do think that this, when you throw a bunch of star players into a situation like this, it definitely brings about a what shall we say? There's a lot of locker room to sort out in a very short amount of time. So the most you can do in a case like this is just lead by example and try to rev each other up and find points at which you can bond with one another. And it's a little like the Olympics, and that's what the players wanted, was a tournament that would give them an Olympic type experience before the Olympic year. And this is a great platform for Charlie McAvoy to take a step in his career and exhibit leadership. So I don't think it'll be an overt sort of a way, but I think for him it has to be kind of like on the ice. And
I'm looking at who do you think that he's going to be paired with? I'm looking, Brock Faber for the Wild, Noah Hannafin, Slavin from the center. I mean, who do you think that Charlie's going to be paired with on defense?
Yeah, I think the last two are probably the more likely ones.
Fox.
Yeah, not Foxy. But, I think they're both right-siders.
Yeah.
McAvoy's a right-sider. Yeah. Hannafin is a left-sider, so I think that's a possibility. Slavin, I think, is a left-sider, so that's a possibility. The pairings of the right shot, left shot thing is a very important thing, and especially in a tournament like this where you don't have a lot of team chemistry, so you rely heavily on your structure and how you play and how teams defend. Certainly in the salary cap era, and maybe going back before that, has very much been about having the rights on the right and the lefts on the left. If you're a liberal kind of a coach where you want to be a little more dynamic in the offensive zone and get the sticks inside like you do on the power play so that the point man is shooting off wing and the puck's more in a direct angle to the goal, then you can weave those players. But you got to make sure you're not putting too much on them, and you want to be able to So I'm fairly confident that that they're going to have three pretty solid pairings that have good, strong elements of defense and offense. And I think it's one of the reasons why Charlie McAvoy, despite not carrying some of the stats that some of the other guys do, is a really good selection for their team because A, he skates, B, he hits, C, he can really defend, and his offense game is kind of one dimensional. He's not a great power play player, so you won't see him on the power play on this team. But what you'll see him do is join the attack in a dynamic way at even strength because he can really move.
Now, I assume we're going to see Connor Hellebuck from UMass Lowell and Winnipeg Jets. He'll be in starting. Jeremy Swayman's on this team. Jake Odinger for the Stars as well. But do you think Connor's going to get the majority of play here?
Have to think that. I can't imagine it any other way. The guy's a horse. He's one of the few guys in the league who's able to play a yesteryear number of games and not look any worse for the wear. So I have to. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking really the results always tell the story with goaltending. You know, I mean, in the year the Bruins won the Stanley Cup in 10-11, they began the season in Prague and Tuukka Rask got the first start because he was the starter at the end of the prior season when Tim Thomas was playing with an injury. So Thomas gets surgery off season, and I think it was his hip. They come back. They start in Prague. The Bruins are flat. They lose to the Arizona Coyotes. They come back the next day with Tim Thomas in net. They win. He never looked back. Won his second Vezina, won the Conn Smythe. And, so results, perfect example of how results decide what's going to happen in net. But I can't imagine Hellebuck doesn't get the very first start.
How good can this United States team win the whole thing? I always go back to Miracle and before that Herb Brooks and talking about, the reason why all-star teams fail when they're going up against the Europeans and stuff like that is because lack of team chemistry, that kind of thing. And the guys haven't played together. A lot of them are arch enemies on the ice anyway for a lot, no matter, but you have to, put aside your differences. It's not BU Minnesota in 76 and all that. You got to come together as a unit. And a lot of that falls on, Mike Sullivan. In a short period of time, it's not just the United States, Canada, Finland, Sweden, who develops the chemistry first, I think, is going to be key. And that remains to be seen. Don't you think?
Absolutely. When you look at the 98 U.S. Olympic team that was the first one to have NHL players, they were horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that was a group that had a chance to make a dent because so many of them had come from New England and had played some college, and I felt like they were going to play enough like each other and things were going to go well. I really thought there was going to, and instead, the Czechs just locked it down on everybody, and the United States was completely frustrated. And I can't remember who it was. Maybe it's either Chris Chelios or Keith Kachuk after the tournament called it a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, wow, that's the first time. Now, since then, I think one of the biggest things that's happened in international tournaments is Canada. They load up with centermen because the oldest theory in hockey is that centers can play wing, but wings can't play center. So they load up on centers. So I think the last time there was an Olympics with the NHL in it, Canada had something like 11 centermen among its 14 forwards. And then most of those guys would obviously have to play wing. So the line rushes for Canada first practices 2 days ago was McKinnon was on the wing. Now
with Connor McDavid?
I think so.
Yeah.
And so anybody want to try to argue with me that McKinnon isn't the second most dynamic forward in NHL after Connor McDavid?
Absolutely.
I mean, Nathan McKinnon is right there. I've voted. I think the last time I had a Hart vote, he got it. So, I mean, this guy is just a ball of fire, and he goes straight up and in your face with power and skill. And he's an awesome, awesome player. And I feel a little bad for him because I feel like the Avalanche here with the trade of Mikko Rantanen are going to go the other way.
Yeah, I still don't understand that.
To Martin Nashas, but The problem is that they've never been able to. They didn't keep Nazem Kadri. They didn't. They lost their captain. Those are physical players. That element's been lost to the Avalanche, and they're always trying to find it in their depth, and it's really not been there for them. I don't see them as a contender for the Stanley Cup.
Could playing in a tournament like this, like I'm just throwing Brad Marchand's name, was playing for Team Canada. Could that, if things don't go well, I mean, you start to develop, even if you start to develop chemistry with some strangers, then you got to go back with the Bruins. I mean, you think it can affect him? And John Meter-Perel will join us in a second. But can that affect his play for most of these guys when they come back and play
in a negative way?
Well,
no.
Not.
I think they just come back energized and everything's familiar again.
How do you think Brad's going to do with the Canadian team?
I think he's playing the best hockey of the year. The only mistakes he makes are out of desperate aggression. He makes some mistakes, but he is playing so much better than he did earlier in the season for the Bruins. He had 3 summer surgeries, separate issues, and so his game has come along, and this is the best version of him that I've seen all season. So I think he's going to be in his role, however they want to use him, he'll be good.
Now, okay, before we get to Meter, but the Canada versus Sweden tonight, 8 o'clock, TNT, the Bell Center. Bell Center and the Garden have all these games. What are the crowds going to be like? Particularly, let's start with Boston real quick here, because the Bruins are right now would be out of the playoff race. People are down on them right now. The ticket prices are fucking ridiculous. I heard $180 to $200. I think it's ridiculous. What are the crowds?
Maybe the secondary market will be less, because I found this to be a very slow promotion. The Bruins were preoccupied with their centennial game against Montreal, I think December 1st. The league didn't come around to this right away, but they decided, okay, let's go hard with it when it's time, and then we'll push it. I think what you're going to have in Boston is a lot of tourists. I think they're going to have a lot of people from the European countries involved, Finland and Sweden. I think you're going to have a lot of Canadians come down. I think you're going to have people from around the league who want to see the superstars play. They're going to come here, and it's going to be a tourism thing. It's not going to be a Boston event. They're not going to use Boston Bruins programming. The game presentation won't be Boston-oriented. Ron Poster, the organist, won't be the guy at the keyboard. There's just a lot of – this is just going to be kind of like when the NCAA comes into your building, and the people in the stands are going to represent the interests of the fandom overall. And it's really going to be an international event.
Any buzz about this at all? I mean, they don't play at the Garden
None.
Saturday. The first game of the Garden isn't even in the United States. It's 1 o'clock on February 17th. On Monday, February 17th at the Garden. That's Canada versus Finland at 1, followed by Sweden versus the U.S. at 8. And that's what I've heard. There's absolutely no buzz in Boston. A great hockey.
No, there's no city buzz about this. This is the Bruins fans are extremely ho-hum on this one. And it's unfortunate because you're getting a tremendous collection of players on the same ice, this best on best. It's awesome. They couldn't include Russia. They couldn't include Czech Republic, Czechia. But what they have is going to be pretty damn good. But a lot of people are like,
can we get Pasternak a day pass to play for the United States?
They might need it, because I think Canada is really tough with all the centermen. They're so strong down the middle. So help me, Harry Sinden. They're uncompromising on this, and Don Sweeney's their GM, and that's how they're building the team. And Cooper's going to coach it, and it's hard to think that anybody else is going to pull this out from them. And because you also remember that USA Hockey is toppled the junior hockey world, and Canada is extremely sensitive to this. They don't want to lose.
Absolutely. Mick Elagio, fantastic stuff as always. Thank you so much. You can check Mick out at rinkwrapmc.com, bostonhockeynow.com. You're on a bunch of podcasts. Are you going to be covering any of these games at all?
I'll be in the Boston ones, and I wish I could stick around and listen to Meter, because he's one of my favorite radio voices.
Oh, I promised to get you off early, didn't I? I screwed you. I told you I'd get you off by 9:24. I'm sorry. I totally forgot.
It is what it is. Haggerty's made me wait before, so we'll go do the pucks with Hags now.
Tell Joe it's my fault. Tell him hello. All right.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good one, guys.
All righty. There he goes. And coming in, looks like is John Meter-Perel, who's up that way also in the New England area. Good morning, Meter. How are you? Are you excited about this Four Nations tournament coming up?
No, I am not. And it's unfortunate Love listening to Mick, by the way. Tell him I send my best too. That was nice
He's
of him
one
to
of the
say
best
that.
in the country. Should be on NHL Network. Should be on
He's great.
ESPN. He's fantastic.
He's like an encyclopedia. But I think the situation here, Pete, is it's an NHL thing where they're just blowing it. And it drives me nuts. I know it drives you nuts. They have to do a better job promoting their
It was
sport.
awful. What promotion? I mean, I've seen ESPN has barely been any in TNT, and the Celtics are on.
No one even knows. I was at the Beanpot the other night, and
Did they have any promos there on the jumbotron for it? Nothing.
There might have been one. And that was it. And my buddy's going to the Canada game that Mick mentioned on the 17th, and that kind of jarred it for me. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a game in Boston.
That day on Monday, 1 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So Canada, Finland at 1, Sweden, United States at 8, both on TNT. But the Celtics were on ESPN tonight against San Antonio, and I'm wondering, now it's going to be that. They probably won't promote it tonight, even though it begins because it's on TNT. But I wonder if they're gonna do it. I wonder if they're gonna have any promotion for it at all, since tomorrow's game between the United States and Finland is at 8 o'clock at the Bell Center, but on ESPN. I'm wondering if boys in Bristol will do that. Will promote.
I hope they do. I hope hopefully there's some clause there where they have to promote it. But it's as Mick mentioned, it's great rosters all up and down. If you're a hockey fan, this should be nirvana for you, and no one knows really it exists. At least the casual fans don't. I'm sure the diehards do, but that's the majority of fans you come across are casual. So, and then Boston, the Bruins are such a poor group right now that
everybody's lost the playoffs. But I heard the ticket prices I heard are ridiculous, like $180 to $200, something like that.
Ridiculous. That's insane. This should be $25 and free hot dogs.
What do you think this is? Atlanta?
Hey, get this. All right, you want to talk about prices?
Yeah.
My friend who's going to the tournament paid two turkey sandwiches, 2 Cokes. How much do you think it costs at the Garden?
Where? What building? At the Garden?
Yeah.
2 turkey sandwiches and 2 sodas.
Right.
Bottles or like fit
Just like like from the fountain.
It's probably over $30.
$55.
Get the fuck what?
I swear to God.
$55 for 2 turkey sandwiches and 2 Cokes?
Yes. Legit.
Oh my God.
Hand carved though. Hand carved, Pete.
What game?
It was the B-Pot.
Oh, Monday night would be BPC. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I swear to God. I just started laughing. I said, "This is just insane. We have lost our minds. The Jacobs have lost their minds."
$55 for 2 shitty turkey sandwiches, was probably sitting in there from 3 days ago, and 2 sodas out of the fountain.
And chips.
Oh, okay. That have 5 of them in a bag.
Chips. Well. I don't know if you probably haven't been to the Garden lately. They have improved their concessions. They're hand carved, and they slice them. So maybe it's a little bit worth an extra $1, maybe.
So Joey on the text line is going for a college hockey game. No, it's probably for everybody, no matter who's in there. You don't just charge that for a hockey game. That's their. I'm sure for Celtics and Bruins and
I went to a Celtics
concerts and whatever else. Yeah,
Celtics game Christmas Day.
Yeah,
my girlfriend and I, we got 2 drinks. Fruity Special, a little Malibu and Crown Apple for me.
Oh, that's $20.
$62
for 2 drinks and what?
That's it.
2 drinks for $62?
$62.
What the hell is? I thought it was bad at Hard Rock here in Miami. I've been to a couple of Hurricanes games, and inside vodka sodas are like $15 inside. But $62 for 2 rum and Coke.
Not kidding. She got something else. She's
whatever. One barely shot of booze and whatever fizzy part of it you want. Holy shit! That is just. That is outrageous.
Yeah, that's what you're dealing with at the TD Garden. Every event, they don't change it for any event.
That is insane. And then you got other, you got what's going on in Atlanta, where they are giving away, $5 and a couple other arenas are starting to follow suit. You're just pricing I can't fathom it. I can't fathom. What do they charge the media now? I remember when we covered the Bruins and Celtics back then, and even Fenway was always like $7. It's probably $50 now.
Fenway's more.
Yeah.
Last year
Fenway
for
was always
Fenway Bowl, I
free.
think it was
Bruins
like
and
20
Celtics were always free. Bruins and Celtics were always free for media to eat at.
Not
And
anymore.
everybody would tip a couple bucks to remember Madge. Everybody would take a couple bucks here, $5 there in the basket. But and it was decent food, you know.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was decent. It was decent.
It was edible.
But I don't know how much they charge for media for the Bruins and Celtics now. I'm sure they charge something.
I think it's at least 15. Last time I was there doing a Celtics game, it was at least 15. I remember specifically eating before because I heard that. So
did you have to pay too, even though you're doing a broadcast?
Oh yeah, they still make you pay.
Oh my God! That is just mind blowing to me. I guess it shouldn't be. I mean, $62 for 2 fucking drinks.
Yeah, I can't make it up, Pete.
Did you leave a tip?
She
I would have left
bought the
$2.
drinks.
I would have left $2. $1. I mean, not being cheap. That's obscene.
It is. It's absurd. The whole thing's absurd, and the product for the Bruins especially has been. The Celtics this year have not been a good home team either.
I know. I'm scared about tonight's game, but hopefully everybody will be back. Well, I mean, look, I told everybody last week. I think we didn't get a chance to speak last week, but after that hideous loss they had at home to Dallas, and I said, all I can tell you is, I said, they're going to go into Madison Square Garden. They're going to kick the shit out of the Knicks. I said, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. They were up by 27. They won handily. And people keep saying how the Knicks are going to be a threat. The Knicks are no threat to the Celtics. And maybe to some other teams. They just don't match up well with the Celtics. The Celtics will beat them every single time. They'll sweep them if they play in the postseason. But we can get into that a whole lot more. I want to talk some college basketball with you. Are you calling the BC game tonight on ESPNU?
I will be there.
BC Notre Dame?
Late night with the Eagles.
9:00 on ESPNU. What's up with that?
Me and Randall Childress.
Because I can go from the Celtics at 7 to you.
You can. Yes, it's going to be should be an interesting game. And from the standpoint, both teams are trying to make the ACC tournament. We know they're not going to make the NCAA tournament, but
unless they went out,
you have to. Oh yeah, that's dicey, but true.
Dicey, nice word for it. Yeah.
But you have the top 15 teams in the ACC this year that make the tournament, and the bottom 3 do not. They will not play in Charlotte. So right now, BC is one of those bottom 3. Notre Dame's on the precipice.
How about though the SEC this year? And it's becoming 85 Big East, and that when number 1, number 2, Georgetown, St. John's went at it back in the day, and was not a great game, but nevertheless the hype for it. And here we have on Saturday at 4:00, number 1 Auburn, number 2 Alabama, some New England ties there as well. Never happened before in the history of the SEC conference. So history Saturday, and that damn well may end up being a preview of the national championship anyway. That could be. They could meet again I don't know if they meet again in the rest of the regular season. They could meet again in the SEC championship, and they could meet again in the NCAA tournament. It is very much looking like, Georgetown and St. John's and Providence and those teams in Villanova and stuff. 1 against 2, first time ever in SEC history in the AP poll.
Yeah, watch out for St. John's. Watch out for Duke. We could name 10 teams that have a good chance.
But this alone, I think, it's just an historic game.
It is. It is, and it's everybody thinks of who you think of at Auburn basketball. You think of Charles Barkley, or Chuck Person.
They've been good for a while.
They have, and Bruce Pearl's done that, as you mentioned. The New England Ties, the pride of Chestnut Hill.
My favorite.
So Nate Oates is fantastic too for Alabama. Once upon a time ago, he was coaching at Buffalo. So, I think it's going to be a fascinating game. Auburn last night looked good again. Tennessee, Kentucky. Tennessee did not look good. Kentucky played well at home.
I thought Georgia was going to stay alive last. They were a 9-point favorite, and they had A&M by the balls in the first quarter, and then in the first half, I couldn't believe what I saw. And I don't ask me why I was watching a lot of that game. There was not a lot on last night, and I'm going, oh my God! And Texas A&M starts the second half, 22-0 run.
Oof.
How does that happen? Anyway, they obviously went on
collapse.
They went on to the Bulldogs were going to be one of those surprise teams, but I don't know. But the SEC still is just absolutely loaded. But I think the Big East is going to be, they're going to make some noise. UConn finally won. How about last night? I watched a lot of that game too. Finally won in Omaha and beat Creighton in an excellent basketball game. And of course, Danny Hurley. I like Danny. I know he has his quirks about it. I don't know how you feel about him, but gave the old, back to backs.
I like Curly. I mean, I know he's insane, but he wears it on his sleeve.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I think I told you this story before, but I did a game at the Hartford Civic Center, and Danny Hurley's wife gave us gummy bears and Sour Patch Kids. She's big. she's almost a bigger candy fan than I am.
Yeah.
And it's one of her things. She gives candy to the players before each game. And Hurley brought me and Tim Welsh, into the locker room like 20 minutes before the game. That has never happened to me before. Coach bringing broadcasters in the locker room. We said, Coach, don't you have a game in 15 minutes? And he's like, it's okay. Just come on in. So,
you're not distracting us or anything like that. Who's calling the game with you tonight? Is it Tim?
Randolph Childress, who is one of the greatest players in ACC history.
Awesome.
Wake Forest.
Have you worked with him before?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I have. He's really, really a good dude, and we're looking forward to it. And he is one of those guys, Pete, that like Dana Barris at BC, could shoot a three and could shoot one from half court, and he'd swish it. He had that tournament, I think it was 95, where he went off for Wake Forest, and it was a one-man wrecking crew. I think he averaged 25 a game. Good friends with Chris Paul. He played before Chris Paul, but good NBA career as well. So the one thing I really like working with, whether it's Huckabee or Childress or Devendorf or especially guards, you'll learn something. You always learn something. They're so analytical. They see the game a different way. I noticed Tom Crean last night working on Peacock with John Fanta.
Always has a tan. Never.
I love him. Crean is great.
I do too. I think he's terrific. Always has a tan.
Yeah, he does. And the best thing about Crean is you work with him. You love this. He's drawing up plays during the game. Like literally, we're on the air and he's like scribbling plays. I'm like, Tom, what is that? He's like, oh, that's my fifth play I used to run at Marquette with Dwayne Wade. Yeah. And I'm like, you still remember this? He's like, are you kidding me? Of course. It's all upstairs. They might not remember their birthdays, but they remember the
Indiana stuff that he did. Yeah, it's crazy. He had a hell of a team at Marquette. It's amazing that's the first time I ever saw Dwayne Wade was at the Civic Center against Providence. Before.
And I hope you're coming up for the NCAA tournament at the AMP this year, first round.
I know, possibly. I would like to. But the regionals are the regionals are in Boston, right?
I don't think so. I think it's just in Providence.
Okay.
I might be wrong about that. I think the regionals were last year or 2 years ago in Boston.
Maybe it's next year. I forget, but yeah, no, I still, my first non-Providence games, and I started going there in '73. But my first NCAA tournament experience, non-Providence games, is 1980. And that was UCLA against BYU, and it was James Madison against Notre Dame. And that was the first game is when Danny Ainge absolutely manhandled a very heavily favored UCLA team, scored like 35 points. This is why he's still playing second base and third base for the Blue Jays, by the way.
I remember.
Dismantled the entire UCLA team. Everybody was sold out. They got a standing ovation. That's the first time I'd ever seen BYU play, because back then, it wasn't college basketball outside of your local teams weren't really available. You get one game a week. A lot of times early back then on the NBC game of the week was Ralph Sampson in Virginia, and some other Big Ten teams that I didn't give a shit about back then. But that was something else. And then in the nightcap, Notre Dame with the legendary Kelly Tripucka and leading
David Rivers.
David Rivers was after. That was another time game at the Garden, though. Georgetown beat that David Rivers team, I believe. I was also at that game. But
Notre Dame was always on too.
Yeah, Digger Phelps and Notre Dame and Kelly Tripucka beating a pretty talented James Madison team. But that was my doubleheader games at the in the NCAA tournament.
My coming of age in college basketball locally was Reggie Lewis in Northeastern, and I used to go to all those games. My dad and I would go to every one. I was so on the Reggie before anybody else was when I was 12 years old, and my amateur scouting, that lineup they were loaded. They had John Williams, Reggie Lewis, Andre Fuller, Andre LaFleur was a great point guard. played in the NBA a little bit.
And
That
Reggie led the
team-
league in scoring that year, right? Didn't he lead the whole NCAA?
yeah,
It was
I think he averaged 28 a game.
Yeah.
It was Calhoun, of course.
Yes.
Carl Fogel as assistant, but you remember those games. Dredrick Irving, Kyrie's father for BU.
And Rick Pitino had been coaching BU, and then he left for Providence right around that time. Anyway, he came to Providence at 84, 85, 86 before he bolted for the Knicks. But
Yeah, those games.
Sorry, 85, 86, 87.
Those games, like New England college basketball in the 80s, BC especially. BC was loaded.
Holy Cross. I mean, those were like madhouse games. Providence, Holy Cross, BC, Holy Cross. The two.
Remember the old McHugh Forum at BC? That place was
absolutely. How about the Hart Center or whatever they called it back then? I mean, Ronnie Perry, those guys back then. I mean, that was the first time I ever heard my mother swear at the TV. Was a Providence game at Holy Cross, and Ronnie Perry Sr. was tearing us up. It was a really good. You son of a bitch! She's yelling at the ref. That's the first time. And I was downstairs. And I'm like 7 or 8. It's like,
sounds like you now.
Oh, yeah.
Watched the Providence game with you. I always tell that story. Pete and I were watching Providence basketball in your living room, and I think they heard you in Orlando. You were yelling so much.
I hope they won that game.
I think they did, but you were. It's a blood sport. As I said to you, you should have auctioned it off on Twitter. Watch a game with Pete Sheppard.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that on this program some night. We'll have the game up although legally we probably can't. But you know what? I don't err on the side of caution when it comes to the show. I just air what I want and
ask questions later.
Yeah, But
you learned that from Wardway.
Yeah, well, we did. If there was ever a press conference going on and stuff like that, in Boston, Channel 5 has or 4 has, just take it. Yeah, Andy and Brady, just take it. Well, give him credit. Yeah, we'll give him credit. Yeah. Here's Joe Widget signing with the Red Sox on Channel 5. That was the credit.
Yeah.
And then we get a call.
Thank you, Mike Dow.
They're like, can you guys, if you're going to do that, you have,
we get calls every day, especially in the morning because, everybody's listening, especially all the people, the executives driving into work. Wait a minute, that's our soundbite. You didn't credit us.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I remember driving into the office, getting called in the office by our friend Jason Wolf. You have to credit everybody on sound bites.
Well, I think we did for the most part.
We did. We tried. I mean,
there it is. But sometimes it was generic. There weren't very many exclusive. I mean, there were some, and you'd say, okay, it's a lot easier now to do it. You just say, here's a channel for whatever, wherever you are in the country or the world. Here's an exclusive. And I say it all the time, no matter what video we show, I say thank you to blah, 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 whatever it is. I mean, that's but it's all public domain now. Once it goes public, it's not like there's no exclusive. You just can't air it live. That's all. So I don't think you have to credit as much as you used to in the past.
It's better to err on the side of caution.
I agree.
And I want to know if Angel Martinez is headed to Broad Street on Friday, along with the rest of the Philadelphia public school system, who's received the day off. There is a day off from school for every Philadelphia kid to attend the parade.
They didn't do that in New England, if I remember correctly.
Remember we talked about that all the time.
They never did. And of course, we were working. But the only time I ever got out of school early for a sporting event meter was back in '78, the one-game playoff, Red Sox-Yankees. And this was at Drum Rock Elementary School in Warwick, Rhode Island, which no longer exists. It would be the elementary school for Windman Junior High and Tollgate High, which is still there. They let us out an hour early to go home to watch the game.
Well, I didn't get that.
That's the only time that we ever got let out of school early, and that was in Rhode Island.
I think I was 6, running home to watch it, and Keith Jackson was on the call.
Yes,
with Howard Cosell.
Yeah,
and it was Bill O'Brien talks about this on our podcast this week coming up. We talk about that because Red Sox pitchers and catchers reported, as you know, yesterday.
They're here. They're down the street right now.
They are. We reminisced. Bill's a big baseball fan, and his son plays baseball at Tufts. So we love talking ball, but he mentioned that game. I think he was like 10.
Yeah.
He's talking about, he remembers how mad he was at watching it and throwing stuff at the TV.
I was 11. In the worst case scenario we had across the street at the time, I didn't care how pretty anybody was back then. I mean, it did, but we had Andrea, Michelle, Gina.
Listen to you.
Across
Remembers the names.
I know all of them. You know why? Because my mother actually had dated their father way back when they were kids. He was, that was a doctor. That guy was a doctor. We never really became friends with any of them until later on in life. But they were all fucking Yankee fans, all of them. And I remember after the game ended, we went outside. My friend Jack and Pete and Kenny were throwing the ball around, trying not to think about it. And Andrea yells out the window, "The Yankees win!" And I think one of us threw a rock at the house. I think.
Oh my God!
Me. But anyway,
you think we'd be past this now? I see.
No,
Angel.
I've never. No, it's not past it. Not past it.
No, the therapy is not kicked in yet.
Duncan Dad says no school in Philly today. Snow. No school Friday. Eagles. Angel. He's got too much work to do. But I wish you would fly up to Philadelphia, right?
First of all, let me start off with this. I like to credit John Meter Perel for all of Meter's tweets, opinions, and facts from the past, present, and the future. So let's get that one out of the way. And number one.
Thank you, Angel.
Oh, you're welcome. I spoke to Robert Kraft. He said he is sending me his private plane down here to Tampa. And he's going to fly me else. Yeah. He told me he's going to fly me up there. He's going to have some cheese and some Philly spread there for me. So, I appreciate it. Robert Kraft, what an awesome guy. But no, you kidding me?
I have something else, too, on that plane.
He could. He could. And maybe a part or two.
Maybe an offensive lineman.
Or someone else with big hands, Pete.
All right.
As much as I would love to, but I'm sorry. I enjoy the warm temperatures down here in Tampa, and I'll be watching it. I'm pretty sure 6 ABC or somebody will be streaming it, so it'll be just fine. The first one was the most for me personally, and I'll put something out later on about it, but the first one meant a lot. This one, too, don't get me wrong, is the second one for us, but as much as I would love to be in Philly, I'm just fine down here in Tampa, watching it from a distance. Matter of fact, I'll go to Broad Street in Tampa. I'll be the only dum-dum standing out there with a sign, "Go Birds," and I'll celebrate that way.
Amazing. All right, Mir, what's the rest of your day? Your game is late tonight, which I don't know if you like that or not, but what time will your commute begin? It's got to be at least a 5-hour commute, rush hour. So what time will you get to County Forum?
I'm headed there in about 10 minutes. I'm leaving, and because I have shoot around for BC at 11, and Notre Dame shoots at 1, and then I have class at 4:30. So it's a busy day for yours truly.
Busy day. What's the media like? What's the media room like over in County Farm? I've been there in quite some time. I'm thinking about food.
Not much for basketball. It's kind of BYOB. Football's very good. Everybody loves the chowder, but I told you I've never had it because my tummy would not do well with that.
No. Oh.
You love it, Pete. You love it.
Well, we'll be watching tonight. I have the Celtics on at ESPN at 7 against San Antonio. Flip over to ESPNU and watch John Meter Perel. And who else again calling the game? Randolph Childress. Awesome combination. I expect all the fraudulent, fake fucking Notre Dame fans are going to be there tonight. It's the battle of Catholics. The fraudulent Notre Dame fans against BC. There's always a few. I think you'll have a good crowd tonight, don't you?
9 o'clock could be precarious, but I hope so. The best is when Pat Connaughton played for Notre Dame, and he's from Arlington, went to St. John's Prep, Massachusetts powerhouse. He brought his own probably 500 people for all Connaughton fans that were, and he put on shooting displays, of course, when he came back. BC's won the last 4 against Notre Dame at home. So, I think the crowd should be good, Pete.
Yeah. Joey B. Sheppard with the hate for Notre Dame. No, since I was and the thing is, my dad was a huge Notre Dame guy. After BC, he went to Providence College and University of Maryland for medical school. But besides those two loyalties, he always rooted for Boston. He's always rooted.
I didn't know your dad was a doctor.
Yeah, or dentist, oral surgeon. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, 55 years. Yeah. God rest his soul.
Absolutely.
But huge. So anyway, but he was vicious because I was Miami. Anytime Notre Dame won on my answering machine would be my father when I wasn't living at home. He would just do that and then hang up. And hang up. Cackle and laugh and then.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a big Chris Zorich fan.
Yep. All right, Peter, we'll be watching tonight, and will you shoot around with the players this morning? Will you get to
I'll always up a couple threes.
Yeah,
might put it on Twitter so then Angel can steal it. But,
All right, John Meter Perrell tonight, ESPNU, calling the BC Notre Dame basketball game. We'll be tuned in, no question about it. And I'll get some highlights tomorrow, and I hope you get some great calls. You know what? I hope it goes quadruple overtime and you get home at 5 a.m.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate that. I'm sure it will. Now that you said it, you just put the jinx on it. My God, just what we need.
I'm sorry.
Oh goodness,
had to be done. All right, my friend. Go commute. Go teach. Go broadcast. Have a great. That's a hell of a day.
All right, boys. You too. Thanks, Pete.
We'll talk soon. All right.
See you.
Hey, Peter. Man, how can you wish that upon him?
I have to. I must. One funny story. I remember coming in. John Wallach, who does the morning show, does a great job on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And he and I worked together at EEI for a long time, a talk show on weekends, for a couple of years anyway, before we both went off weekend. But I would come in when I would come in doing morning drive, sports flashes at the time. And I remember coming in, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was just getting done with the overnight. He used to do Ted Sarandis' show overnight, sports flashes every 20 minutes. He had just gotten done because the Blackhawks and Calgary Flames went into 3.5 overtimes. I came in, it was a Friday morning too, and I'm like, I just started laughing. He's like, "You fucking asshole, did you know what I..." I'm like, "Leave your copy so I don't have to write it." Fuck you. But I mean, he'd been there since like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, preparing for the show and everything else. And he had to stay. Yeah, the person on the last call, you had to stay till every game was completed. But I'll never forget that 3.5 overtimes in Calgary and the Blackhawks back then. John's sitting there like, "This is ridiculous. What the hell?" Anyway, it's funny broadcasting stuff that happens. Oh my God. Okay. I'll tell you what, Angel, you don't have your show today. What else is coming up on the network today?
Q will be on later on, I believe at 5. He may be back at 4, but he should be guaranteed there by 5 o'clock. After that, we'll see with Bees World at 6, and then Talking Hoops at 8. But the schedule may end up changing because there is something coming up here with USF.
Oh, okay. All righty. Enjoy your hockey tonight and basketball as well. I'll be back tomorrow morning, full show again. The Pete Sheppard Show coming up at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, right here on the Coastal Sports Network. Have a great... Oh, thanks to all my guests, John Meter Perrell. Thanks to Mick Colagio, Bill Sparrows, and Corey Schaub from the Chubb Classic and Tiburon Golf Club. Check that out and head down there if you can. You can't today, but the rest of the week you can. All right, I'm back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Bye!